And it continues on here on the Jason Gregor Show. For those of you who I guess maybe looking to find us on YouTube, we're just going to get that sorted out very quickly here. It's just down to Brandon and I. Declan Kruger on a little bit of a road trip as well, so he will get that figured out for the YouTube viewers. If you've maybe jumped over to the radio to see what's going on, we'll certainly have that sorted out very shortly here. Brian S texting in saying, "I hate the Leafs so much. Think they're the center of the universe. Hate them much more than the Flames. I enjoyed the Leafs losing as much as the Oilers winning." And I think that might have came in from the end of the Lowdown with Lowtide. A little bit of Leafs talk kind of finding its way into this show. I don't mind the Leafs. I feel like I had a very similar opinion of the Leafs to good friend Jason Strudwick. The team, I don't mind so much. It's the coverage around them. I mean, actually, I'll say I really like Austin Matthews. I enjoy watching Austin Matthews do his thing. Exciting. Nylander, very good player. Mitchell Marner. Like they've got some really nice players there. Noah Gregor, give him a little bit of a shout out as well. He was in studio here back in the summer. Great kid. Nice to see those guys have a little bit of success. Now, if you want to get into the things that might be frustrating around that organization, the fans, maybe the media gives them a little bit of attention. I can see that, but I certainly don't mind the Toronto Maple Leafs in that fashion. When it does come to, the Calgary Flames, I'm an Edmontonian, born and raised. I certainly like to see them struggle, but I'll certainly agree with there. Sometimes the coverage of the Leafs can be a little bit crazy, but I still got to say it is the Flames for me. That would be public enemy number one. The Canucks too. I feel like some of their fans get a little bit too cocky when they start to have some success. Hello, we are here on the YouTube stream. See Norm in a combine, Penner's Pancakes. Hello. Just kind of catching up on the chat here. Norm saying they would need to maintain a 700 win percentage. And Penner Pancakes is talking about the Oilers' run coming. I predicted a 5-1 record when they had 6 games remaining in the 2023 calendar season. That was my guess. Now, not to pat myself on the back, but earlier on in the season, I did predict that 8-game winning streak. Knew it would end there. Just kidding. I did not know, but I thought it would end at 8. And now I think they might go 5-1. Brandon Douglas, he actually brought it up this morning on Kevin Carey's show that he thinks, the schedule is favorable for the Edmonton Oilers for the next little while. 2 teams, Brandon, with was it a winning record or playoff teams?
2 of the Oilers' next 8 opponents currently sit in a playoff spot. So that being the LA Kings and the surprise Philadelphia Flyers. Everyone else not in a playoff spot as of today. That is that Eastern Conference pretty log jammed in the middle. Basically, you've got the Rangers up top, a couple other teams in a decent spot, and then a pretty large foray of teams that they're all within a handful of points of each other. So
the storylines almost write themselves. If the Oilers win, you can see the narrative already. Well, who have they beat? Well, you can't control that, right? Just got to go out there and win the games.
You got to play who you're scheduled.
Yeah. If you lose the games, then all of a sudden, then maybe it can be a little bit of an issue. But I think the Edmonton Oilers, they're starting to play a whole lot better. The 2 games before the Christmas break, finding ways to come back and win late in the third period. And not just the usual culprits, getting that depth scoring. Ryan McLeod starting to pick up his play. It's big. And obviously, Ernie chiming in with a couple goals last game against the Rangers was big. Those are the things they're going to need to continue to have the success. And, McDavid and Draisaitl, they're always going to do their thing. Nuge, Hyman's level of play, in my opinion, just doesn't change. He is just about as consistent as they come. So keep that going for the Edmonton Oilers. Got to get that goaltending, minimize the chances against, and I think they'll be okay. But for sure, the schedule is favorable for this hockey team, and we'll see how it pans out tonight out in San Jose. The Sharks in action last night, like we said, played the LA Kings. That kind of probably went as it planned. The LA Kings right now, pretty good record, sitting in 3rd in the Pacific Division with games in hand. They certainly can catch up to the teams ahead of them. The Vegas Golden Knights coming off a game where they lost to the Anaheim Ducks. They were down 4-0 after 20 minutes, ended up losing 5-2. The Vancouver Canucks with games in hand of the LA Kings sitting in first place. See how long that lasts. I feel like I was a little bit wrong about the Vancouver Canucks. I didn't think that their play to start the season would continue as long as it has, but they're finding ways to win hockey games, doing some great things. So we'll see how it pans out. Certainly going to be a very interesting month going forward here once we get into January. See how the Oilers do coming out of it. And Brandon, you said it. The playoff teams they play few and far in between. They'll wrap up this 3-game trip in California, 3 games in 4 nights. The Sharks the night, then Saturday, Sunday, they've got the Kings and the Ducks at home to the Flyers on Tuesday. Then a few days off before the Ottawa Senators roll into town. They'll head to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks, a winnable game there. A game in Detroit, probably winnable there. Montreal, and then hosting Toronto on the 16th of January, where we know there's going to be a lot of Maple Leafs fans in attendance making some noise. Daryl texting into 1-833-401-1440 said, I lived in Kingston in the early 80s. Couldn't believe how arrogant Leafs fans were. My son goes to Queens 30 years after me. He contacts me after he gets home and settled in and said, unsolicited, OMG, I can't believe how arrogant the Leafs fans are. I mean, I don't know too many Leafs fans. No, I do some hits with Scott Mitchell down in Camrose. He's a Leafs fan, but I think he's got a pretty good grasp on it. They haven't won a Stanley Cup in decades. I mean, we're getting further away from it. There's less and less people that can actually say they witnessed a Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup. There hasn't been a whole lot to be arrogant about. Now, there could be someone out there saying that's ironic coming from someone who's on an Edmonton sports radio station. I think the Oilers are probably getting to the place where you can't really bring up those cups anymore. And we're going on 35 years almost. Eventually, it's kind of like you got to go do it again before you can be cocky about it and bring up the rich history. But I haven't dealt with too many cocky Leafs fans, Brandon. I don't know if you've dealt with them in your time, but for me, it really hasn't been too bad. They're almost self-deprecating, the ones that I run into.
Yes, that's a good mix, but I know several very, very cocky ones. One is a very good friend of mine. Shout out Denton, as Kevin Carius calls him, the Big Cebolla from out by Mundare Way. He thinks he's also a Denver Broncos fan. So much like Bronco Brad from the text line here on the station, he was all aboard the wagon up until last weekend and now is off again. With the Leafs, he's the same way. When they lose a couple in a row, he thinks the team belongs back in the draft lottery. Trade everyone. They win 5 in a row. They get to the playoffs as the top seed, or they're going up against the Lightning again. He thinks, yeah, this is it. This is the Leafs year. So he runs with the swings of the team, but even when he's down on them, he's an optimistic sports fan. But yes, I would definitely classify him as an arrogant Leafs fan for simplicity's sake. Love him to death. But yeah, sports with him. And because when he watches Oilers games, since he's not an Oilers fan, even though he's lived just east of the city his whole life, he will, if we're going to games, he'll always throw some pretty heavy money down on whoever the Oilers are playing against, just so then he has a bigger reason to root against the Oilers. And he plays the heel. How's that? With the majority of our friend group being from around this area, Alberta, etc., a lot of Oilers fans in it. He loves playing heel to all of them.
Someone's got to do it. And hey, I'll say it. If you're going to talk to 10 Oilers fans, there's going to be a couple that are sensitive. So you can get under their skin pretty good, fire them up, as with every fan base. Let's not just say it's Edmonton. I mean, I think every fan base has that group that is a little bit too sensitive about the things. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by playalberta.ca. We're coming to you live from the eWell studio. eWell gives you more than premium quality electrical products. Are you ready to elevate your projects? Contact eWell to discuss how they can partner with you for success. EWEL.ca. Of course, 1-833-401-1440 is the best way to get a hold of us in the Jiffy Lube inbox. Book your oil change today at jiffylubeservice.ca. You can also get us via the email, Connor@sports1440, if you'd like to do so that way. We'll check in on the YouTube chat. I see Caster, Gonzo, Reaper, Norm, all you guys having a good time in the chat. Keep it going. Hit that like button for sure. And we'll keep it going here. If you're on Facebook, give us a like, give us some comments. We'll try to chime in there as well. As I mentioned, a loaded show today. Dave McCarthy will join us next. We'll also hear from Robin Brownlee of Oilers Nation. Bill Bender covers the NFL for the Sporting News. We'll have Shang Pang out of San Jose to talk about the Sharks. Mike Rupp from the NHL Network and former player. I want to ask him, after Christmas break, how are you feeling? How are the legs? Isn't turkey legs the thing people used to call it?
Yeah. Something that people used to call it. But with that in mind, I think today's NHLers probably a little more committed to the craft, I guess. We've talked about it with Grant Fuhr a little bit in the past on the Carrier Show, and like back in the day, guys would literally take the 3 or 4 days off and do nothing but eat, not get off the couch, whatever.
Some drinks.
Now you definitely some drinks mixed in, but these days, I don't think it's quite as common. I think probably guys are still working out, if not getting on some ice in some capacity or something. Definitely probably still their daily routine. Maybe they take Christmas Day off. How's that?
I mean, you gotta have a little bit of an outlet, right? Like go enjoy it, feast, carbo load, and then get right back to it. They're so disciplined.
Hammer down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the fact they're off the 26th. That's your day to kind of rebound and rebound aggressively. And you said shake that turkey weight, get the legs back firing. The problem is I think travel probably plays a big role because if you're back home Christmas, it's kind of hard to sit on the bike for 2 hours when you got to maybe fly cross country or cross continent to get back to wherever you're meeting up with the team to get back in action last night or tonight in the case of these 8 teams.
For sure. It is the Jason Gregor Show. We'll also have Speck and Gregor by at 5:20. We'll mix in the ski report and 5 questions. Also, Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas in today. For Gregor, Declan Kruger also off. He'll be back on Tuesday when we all return back in a full swing with the entire 1440 lineup. Big thank you guys again for tuning in today. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 and the Edmonton Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork. The call letters and studio have changed, yet Edmonton's passion for sports endures. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor and is eager to get back in the game on Sports 1440.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Call Legacy. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-o-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas, but his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
Sports radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas sitting in on this Thursday afternoon, 2:22. The Oilers in action tonight, set to take on the San Jose Sharks down in California. Tony Barrar yesterday tweeted out some of the lineup, and for those who may have missed it, I assume it won't change. RNH, McDavid, Hyman. Then you got McLeod, Draisaitl, Fogle. I like that look. Evander Kane with Derek Ryan in Janmark, Ernie, Hamblin, Brown, Holloway, the 13th skater. He will not play on this road trip, but always a good sign that he's going to be back out there after the injury. Sam Gagner did not make the trip down to California. You've got Nurse and Ceci as the top pairing. Ekholm Bouchard with Kulak, Desharnais, and Gleason with Skinner looking like he'll get the nod. It would make no sense for him not to start. So expect Stuart Skinner to get the nod out there tonight as the Oilers take on the San Jose Sharks. And then some news for the San Jose Sharks. According to Curtis Pashelka, who covers the team, has done so for a long time, Magnus Cronin will make his first NHL start against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, which I don't have to tell you. No worries there, right? Why would you panic about that? Just a goalie making a start against the Oilers. They should put 5 or 6 past him. But that's not always the way it works. So we'll see what happens. Dave McCarthy's going to join us in a minute here. Just got to wait for him to dial in. Jumping into the YouTube chat here. Dr. Gonzo says, Zach Hyman is my dad. Howdy tonight. Reaper says, all season last year, I wanted to see what Cloud looks like on the wing. I think we saw it one time. I'm kind of liking him on Dry's line. Speed on the wing might just be what Dry needs. Yeah, I mean, and he's got that. I'd like to see him add a little bit of a physical presence, finish some of those hits when he can, force the defensemen in their own zone to maybe play the puck just a second quicker, put the fear into them, but we'll see. And we've also got, Dr. Gonzo, crying emoji for Sam Gagner. Yeah, Sam Gagner didn't make the road trip. He'll stay home with the fam, take it easy, and hopefully be ready to go soon. Bacon says the Leafs have never won more than 2 rounds. The last time they won the Stanley Cup, there was only 2 rounds in it. I came across that stat yesterday. I'd heard some people talking about that one. Didn't go back and confirm it, but I'm just going to assume it's true because it is quite funny. And HVAC Dan says the Leafs have never won 3 rounds in a row in the playoffs. The last time they won, there were only 2 rounds. So confirming that statistic right there. Brandon, my side doesn't tell me when McCarthy's here. So is he good to go?
No. Still no Dave McCarthy arriving in our waiting room, if you'd like to call it that.
We'll keep on waiting. We're good to do that. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas in today. If you haven't heard us talk about that already, Gregor will join us on the show around 5:20. For the San Jose Sharks, I mean, it's tough. I mean, we knew this team would be bad. And I know they got the big win over the Edmonton Oilers, forced Gregor to grow his hair out. And he's certainly never going to forget that. And you can never underestimate your opponent. But I think when you go back to the last time these two teams did meet, the Oilers were in a tough spot. They were not playing good hockey. And, I think we looked at this as a game last time that, they're going to find a way to win. They have to do so. As of late, though, they have been playing better. Now, hopefully, they're not going to be dependent on it coming in the third period, needing to score 3 or 4 goals to get back into it. But the San Jose Sharks team, losers of 6 in a row. They've got 9 wins on this season. They're minus 71 when it comes to goals for, goals against. So for the Edmonton Oilers, I mean, coming off the Christmas break, you traveled there, you had a few days off, maybe you had a little bit too much turkey. You would think this is a team that you want to see, especially before you go take on those LA Kings, who have been very good this season. But I feel like there's always just that little thought for Edmonton Oilers fans, maybe it won't work. Anyways, we'll go around the NHL. We'll talk all things NHL, going around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. You don't make burgers with this juicy, with delicious, and without using 100% Canadian beef. Enjoy a quarter pounder with cheese today, made with 100% Canadian beef, only at McDonald's. Big fan of the quarter pounder for me personally. Keep those onions on. I know Gregor doesn't like to go with the onions, but I'm going to have to disagree with him on this one. Is Dave good to go here, Brandon? All right, we welcome in Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL. Dave, hope you have a great holiday season. How are you doing?
I'm doing great as I fix my camera here, get all rigged up. I'm good to roll.
I'm with you. Getting into YouTube, I mean, I'm going the wrong way. I want to make sure everyone can see our fantastic sponsors over my shoulder. Get lower. Your background looks great, though. Very festive in the McCarthy household.
Oh, you know how we do it. I was trying to get my. So I didn't frame it up very well. I'm not lifting up my tarp here. I'm trying to get my new Mickey sweatshirt in here. There, eh?
I like it. Was that a gift?
Oh yeah, big Mickey guy.
Oh,
Mickey.
I mean, who doesn't love Mickey? For those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, you're missing out. This is the content you get when you stream on Oilers Nation YouTube. Dave, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's just start there. Austin Matthews. He's always going to pop up, the most exciting player in the league by some. I'm going to disagree. Western bias. But when you look at his point total or his goal total, the pace that he had, it was like 72 goals last week. How many do you think he finishes this year? And do you think there's any motivation seeing what McDavid did last year, thinking, I can one up that?
I think there is to an extent. I'm actually surprised to hear you say that he is the most exciting player in the league.
I read it on social media to be. It wasn't my thoughts. I'm a McDavid guy.
Okay. I thought for a second you forgot what city you're on in. You don't want to agitate the locals, but no. Look, I think when you're a guy as talented as Austin Matthews, there's always a degree of competitiveness there, right? That fuels him to get to the level that he's at. And like last year, it would be 98% of people in the league that would score 40 goals, and they'd be dancing through to the end of the rainbow and looking for pots of gold at the end of the year if they did that. That would be the best year they could ever possibly imagine. For the other 2 or 3% of players in the league, 40 goals, and they're like, kind of had a down year, right? And that's what it felt like for Matthews. It really did feel like it was a down year coming off the year prior where he was into the mid-60s. So I think he did see what McDavid did, and there's an element of, I just want to make sure that no one thinks of me as a one-and-done type guy. And I want the Maurice Richard trophy back. So I do think that drives him absolutely. And the way he's going right now, like it seems like he scores every night for fun. I mean, we thought he scored last night to open the score. He ended up ticking off the foot of Matt Nye, so we didn't get credit for the goal. But man, ever since this goal streak began, and it was a span, Connor, of a handful of games where Matthews wasn't at his best. And I actually asked Sheldon Keefe, I'm trying to remember when it was just before this goal streak began, like early December. I said, is Austin, the production hasn't quite been there, but is he still doing the things that you need to see him do in order to be effective? And Sheldon was like, no, he's not. He's a driver of our team. We expect more out of him. He's not around the net. He's not getting chances, let alone scoring right now. And something has clicked since then, because it really does look like every game that he only gets one, it's a disappointment.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, Dave, because I am in a public space. Connor McDavid, most exciting player in the NHL. But I love watching Austin Matthews. He's one of my favorites to watch. Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM joining us. I got to ask about Connor Bedard after what he did last night in overtime, scoring the winner. I mean, it's got to be tough, and he's had some injuries around him. He's the number one guy. He is the guy. Everyone's got their attention focused on him when you roll into Chicago or they're coming into town. What can you say about him and what he's been able to do so far in this rookie year? And I don't want to say exceed expectations necessarily, but pretty dang close.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, you look at Chicago right now, the caliber of that team, that might be, to borrow a phrase from Michel Therrien about 17 years or so ago, that might be the worst team that a number one pick has gone to in quite some time. You look starting back to the Oilers and McDavid. Okay, the Oilers weren't great, but McDavid came in, he had Draisaitl, right? Like, so there was another guy at his level right there to help offset some of his minutes. Then the next year, the Leafs get Austin Matthews. Yeah, they finished last the year prior to that, but you drop Matthews in. Suddenly alongside him, you've got Mitch Marner and William Nylander who hit the ground running. You also had Tyler Bozak and James Van Riemsdyk and Nazem Kadri at the time. So there Leo Komarov who was able to take some in. There was an infrastructure there around him. Connor Brown as well that year. It wasn't just Austin Matthews. It was a good team. You know, you look at the Rangers getting Lafreniere, good team. I'm trying to remember some other ones off the top of my head, but you know, it really hasn't been complete devastation the way that it is in Chicago this year, where it literally is Connor Bedard and a bunch of guys named who. That's a bad team. Bad team. They went out and signed a number of veterans. Like Nick Foligno's been fine. He's been really good. For the role he's playing, he's been really good. But let's not kid ourselves here. Nick Foligno is not even what he was 5 or 6 years ago. He's an older guy in the league. Beyond that, Taylor Hall, hurt. Corey Perry, you know, we don't need to get into that, but it obviously didn't work out. And after that, it's brutal, really. So to come in with that level of hype, those level of expectations, you can only go down, really. You can either meet them or you can come in under. It's almost impossible to exceed, which basically sets you up for failure to begin with. And somehow he's, I think, come pretty darn close, if not actually come to meeting those expectations coming into the year. He's been really impressive. That goal was bananas last night. If I was the other team, I might want to have somebody try and stand in front of him, or at least put someone in the slot so he can't just waltz right down Mace. But you know, still a hell of a play.
I mean, when you look at his shot, we've heard opposing goalies talk about it. Stuart Skinner said it. I mean, the release point is one thing, but it can be hard to read. Does his shot remind you of anyone else's, you know, the great goal scorers in years past?
It's tough. I mean, there's so much whip on that stick that he uses, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That is really something to consider. And then when he's able to change the release point by pulling it in at the last second or moving it out of the last second, in addition to all that, like that just becomes really difficult to pick up from a goalie's standpoint. It doesn't really remind me of Matthews' shot. I don't know why, but it doesn't. Maybe because one's a lefty and one's a righty, that I don't have that same level of association there. Like Matthews, his shot is really interesting. He's really good at changing the release point, but it just seems so much more, I would say, not that it looks difficult for Connor Bedard, but there's an ease at which Matthews seems to shoot, yet it's so heavy. Like even the goal last night when he did the Nyes goal that we thought was his, he gets the puck at the top of the circle, and then it's a really deliberate wrist shot, but it comes off so heavy, and it looks like it should be easy to stop, but nobody ever does. That's the funny thing about it. With Bedard, to me, there's more of a violence to his shot. You look at the goal last night, there was a violence to that wrist shot, but it was still an incredible shot. So I don't think there really is anybody in the league right now. Connor, did anybody come to mind for you that he reminds me of?
No, not really. And I mean, I just kind of threw it out there, and Tiger texting into the Jiffy Lube inbox here saying, I heard some of the old timers say it looks like Bossy, which
okay.
I mean,
I haven't seen enough of Mike Bossy to say so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like to go look at his DB page and just see how good he was, because his numbers blow me away every time I see them. But I mean, that's pretty high praise for him. So if that is the case, it's unbelievable. And like he said, like sometimes it's just like, how did that go in? And then try being the goalie that is assigned to stop the puck. Not quite as easy. Dave, last one for you before we let you go here. I'll ask you just about the World Juniors, if that's okay. Canada opted the 2-0 start. And I know this team maybe didn't get the love that we had seen from it in years past, maybe just not the name recognition. But what have you made it from Canada in their first 2 games at the World Juniors?
Well, I was around the team a little bit 2 or 3 weeks ago when they had selection camp here in Oakville. And I was really struck by the business-like mindset of the team. There was an understanding that, look, the pressure's high. They're going for a 3rd straight goal. They haven't done that since I don't believe 2009. So you have those expectations, that pressure. Then you have a team, as you point out, I think quite rightly, Connor, it's not as heralded as some versions of this team, right? Like there wasn't a Bedard on the team, though Matin Celebrini is getting a lot of acclaim coming into the tournament. I haven't heard him mentioned quite in the same vein as a Connor Bedard as last year, right? So kind of an unheralded group. I mean, there's an undrafted 19-year-old in Owen Allard who made the team, who's been passed over at the NHL draft 2 years. And the guy missed all of last year with a shoulder, or not all, but call it all of last year. I think he played 10, 14 games, whatever it was, essentially all of last year. To have a guy like him make the team, it raised a lot of eyebrows. I actually was fortunate enough to talk to him, not because I was on anything, but because my great editors at NHL.com do obviously a hell of a lot more work than I do, and said, talk to this guy. So I did. And I had a lot of people looking at me with the hairy eyeball, being like, what the hell are you talking to him for? He's not going to make the team. I'm like, I'm just doing what I was told. And sure enough, made the team. And he's played great through the first 2 games. And now I was talking to his coach in the Sioux, John Dean, who said it's amazing how many NHL teams have been calling him to get rundowns on Owen Allard. He said the call always finishes with and just kind of keep this on the down low. Don't tell anybody that we talked. The secret's out, right? Like, this guy's going to get drafted this year. So there's some good stories. Owen Beck is the only returning guy, but the business-like mindset was what really struck me. They knew the expectations were high, and they approached it knowing they got off to a tough start last year, early in the tournament. Maybe took their foot off the gas to an extent, thought it would be easy. They're not playing like they expected to be easy this year. Maybe that's a function of the fact that the team is built the way it is. They know that if they think it's going to be, it won't be, and it won't turn out well. So they're going in, they're playing well. They've committed to a system and a style, and they're playing to it. They've had success here in the early going, but that said, it's, the first 2 games, haven't played a world beater yet. So let's see how they fare when they play some tougher competition.
Dave, appreciate you doing this today. Usually on Tuesdays, we had to move you to Thursday with the holiday season going on. Last one for you. Big plans for New Year's?
We'll see what happens. I'm not, I might have a pop or two. I don't know. We'll see.
I like it. Keep the expectations low, and you'll never be disappointed. Dave,
that's what my history teacher told me once a long time ago. Best advice I ever got, Dr. Leach.
It's facts. Dave, thanks so much for doing this today.
See you, boys.
There you go. That is Dave McCarthy going around the NHL for McDonald's. Catch Dave every weekend. He's got the brunch. He's out late on Sirius XM. He has Gregor join him every Sunday, I believe, at 10:05 a.m. Mountain Time. So if you want to watch McCarthy with Gregor, you can do so, or on the Gregor Show every Tuesday at typically 3:20. But we had to make some movements. We've done that a couple times recently. The holiday season has been crazy around here, and big thank you to Dave for doing that today. Right now, we will take a break. When we come back, we will be joined by Robin Brownlee of Oilers Nation. You're watching or listening to the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live from the eWell Studios on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube stream.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
One call does it all. Action Electrical is proud to celebrate 50 years of providing complete electrical services and a full circle of care, including projects, service, TAG, and energy. From humble beginnings in a small Sherwood Park basement to a family-run business, the Action Electrical stamp can be found on some of the most iconic schools, office buildings, and warehouses across Canada. From conception to completion and beyond, contact
the professionals
at actionelectrical.net today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. call Legacy.
And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Holiday cheer, you say? Let's add some yummy holiday chill. Wrap a cozy mitten around a free, regular size smoothie from Booster Juice when you purchase a $30 Booster Juice gift card in-store or on the Booster Rewards app. Our gift to you, to give to you, or someone else just as nice. The Booster Juice festive flavors have arrived, like the creamy new Oat Nog smoothie and the return of holiday favorites, the gingerbread smoothie and candy cane booster balls. For more details, find a Booster Juice near you and download the Booster Rewards app.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
How do you take your New Year's Eve?
I like it on the rocks.
Get ready for the ultimate New Year's Eve party at On the Rocks, Edmonton's premier live music and party venue.
Sunday, December 31st.
For $55, enjoy dinner first, or $25 for just the party vibe, featuring DJ Kenny King and the Barkells.
Get your New Year's Eve tickets to OTR ASAP.
Visit OnTheRocksEdmonton.com or grab tickets in person.
New Year's Eve on the rocks.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Boxing Day sale is on now. Scratch and save 10 to 60% off store-wide. Time to spend that Christmas cash and buy yourself what you didn't get for Christmas. United Sport and Cycle, your favorite sports store for over 95 years.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Go back. Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas in today. You can always reach us at the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. We've got some questions coming in right now. Hey, can we get a Spangler Cup update? Yes, Canada trailing Davos 4-3 right now. Well, we'll try to keep you up to date. Brandon Douglas will have an update coming up in about 15 minutes time. But right now, we are going to get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. They will pay for your first 2 biweekly payments on any Volvo lease or save an additional $3,500 off XC60 plug hybrids until January 1st, only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. We bring in Robin Brownley of Oilers Nation. Robin, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Hey, Connor, I'm doing good, except I'm hearing 2 of you. Do you hear 2 of me?
You came through a little bit cloudy there. Can you ask that one more time?
I'm getting 2 feeds here at home. Are you getting 2 feeds of me?
We are only getting 1 feed from you. We'll see if we can work on that one here. Brandon Douglas on the other side here. Just kind of playing with the nozzles. We might be hearing you maybe through another feed or anything, and now it looks like you've disappeared. Do we still have you, Robin?
Yeah, see, I'm still here, and now I hear you asking me the question again. You know what?
We got going.
Why don't we take a quick break, and I'll try and reconnect here. We got a problem.
We'll give that another go. Thank you, Robin. Worst case, we'll get you on the phone. I can pass the number over to Brandon. Yes, the Edmonton Oilers in action tonight, taking on the San Jose Sharks down in San Jose. If you got any questions you want us to relay towards Robin, when we get him back on here, 1-833-401-1440, the Jiffy Lube inbox. Some thoughts already coming in here. People a little bit nervous with Magnus Krona, the San Jose Sharks goaltender. If you haven't heard of him, it's okay. I don't think too many people have. He hasn't had exactly the biggest track record. He was a 5th round pick back in the 2018 draft and kind of a cool career path for him. Born in Sweden, and then I think this might be becoming more of a common route for players born in Europe, but decided to go the college route and ended up playing at Denver, I do believe, making his first game. Well, I guess first start. I believe he did play in the loss to the Penguins where they lost 10-2. Goals against average right now sitting at around 7. So not necessarily a great start for Magnus Krona, but 6'5", 207, I guess prototypical length you want from a goalie. 4 years at the University of Denver. Started off the season playing with the Wichita Thunder for 2 games, got into 11 games with the San Jose Barracuda, and then this year for the San Jose Sharks, played in that game, like I said, where they lost 10-2 to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He allowed 4 goals on 31 shots, only 31 minutes, 13 saves. So it wasn't a great performance from him in his debut, but I still feel like there's a little bit of fear from Edmonton Oilers fans. Like, we've seen this story before. Goalie makes his debut or his second start, a slump buster perhaps, and that's going to be the case for Magnus Krona as I think we're going to try to get Robin Brownley back in here on the phone. We'll get him on the phone. Okay, so Robin, if you can hear me, we're going to give you a call on the phone line. I don't know if Brandon has his number. We'll work on that as we continue to get going here on the Jason Gregor Show. But like we said, pick a couple of years ago for the San Jose Sharks, obviously spent some time developing, and they will hope it goes well as they bring him in here. We're just going to pass that phone over to Brandon Douglas. He'll give Ruben Bronte a call, and we'll get him on over the phone. Not exactly sure what was going on, but looks like we have it all figured out now, and we'll get Ruben on the phone in just a couple minutes here. 1-833-401-1440. Hopping into the YouTube chat. Pete says, I'm still not buying the Canucks. Really overreacting, and lucky as heck. You know what? They might be. I mean, we've seen them look good in games. They've got a goaltender who can air quote steal you a game, goal you a game. He's a really good goalie in Thatcher Demko, and it starts there. Even if you're not at your best, your goalie can keep you in it. Got a lot of offensively talented players, which obviously is always going to help. And, I think what they went through last year, there was some adversity there. Guys probably got quite sick of losing with all that they went through. And you know what? You're seeing a hardworking team. Will it continue? I don't know. I mean, the Pacific Division is going to be tough for sure. If the Oilers can start to get things going, you got the Kings, the Golden Knights that are going to be tough. We'll see what happens. But it looks like in the chat here, a few people not quite convinced. Robin, do we have you here over the phone? The old-fashioned way here. Looks like we lost him. We'll get him back on the phone line. Hopefully he'll be calling in shortly. But yeah, the Vancouver Canucks, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go for them. When you look at the San Jose Sharks right now and losers of their last 6, they're a team that doesn't score a lot of goals. They only have 74 goals on the season. That is the lowest. Washington Capitals have 78. That would be the next closest. But not only are they a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, they leak goals, 145 on the year. So they're giving up opportunities as well. That's the most goals against. The next closest, if I scroll through very quickly, the Columbus Blue Jackets at 132. So for the Edmonton Oilers, I mean, go out there, get shots, play okay defensively, and you should find a way to get the job done. Okay, Robin, we've got you on the phone here.
Yes, I think we finally mastered this technology.
We got it. Robin, hey, how was the holiday season for you?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was quiet. It was family. So that part of it was all good. It was nice just to take a little bit of a break. Yeah.
Excellent.
Good. How about you?
Very good. Very good. A couple of days off here. We kind of worked our way back into it with the best of shows yesterday, and now we're rolling live. So happy to be back, and I appreciate you asking. Now, Robin, the Oilers in action tonight, taking on the San Jose Sharks. I know a guy who would say you can never take your opponent too lightly. Last time, Gregor made the bold prediction that the Oilers would win, or he would grow his hair out for 6 months. He got out of it because the Oilers went on that winning streak. He's going to do it for 3 months. I think it's about a month down. But when you look at the San Jose Sharks team tonight, I just outlined it. They don't score a lot. They allow a lot of goals. They've lost their last 6. They're starting a rookie goaltender who's only appeared in one other NHL game. It was a 10-2 loss. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers, there's no excuse tonight. They got to find a way to get the W.
Well, at Oilers Nation this morning, I wrote the same thing. It was like, there's no way the Oilers can lose to this hockey club. That'll never happen. And sure enough, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, that was the game, even though they kept him around for another one a couple nights later. That was the end of Jay Woodcroft. And you can't lose to the team the Oilers lost to that, back on November 9th, and you can't lose to this hockey club either. I was going to ask you, although you're obviously all over it, tell me a little bit about Magnus Krona. Well, you obviously looked him up, but yeah, he's got that sparkling 787 goals against average and a save percentage of 765, which makes him a contender to be a goaltender with the Oilers. So, you can't lose to this team. They're in rebuild mode. They're not a good hockey club. Mike Greer knows that. He's in tough. He's got this roster. He's got to try and do something with it. They should win this. They should, like I said in November, this should be a runaway. And I watching that last game unfold, I was thinking, what the heck am I watching here? So I think the same thing, honestly. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. To me, it was a one-off, but fans are going to be nervous, right? This team does not have any margin for error, Connor. You know that. The 8-game streak, it pulled them back into contention, but you can't lose, you can't lose games like this. And they have had some losing streaks of 3 and 4 games, which undoes a lot of that good. There's no margin for error in these the rest of the way, so they better win this hockey game.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who are just tuning in, Magnus Krona will get the start for the San Jose Sharks tonight when they take on the Edmonton Oilers. I mentioned it. He was a 5th-round pick back in 2018 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He spent the last 4 years at the University of Denver. He's played in the East Coast League, the AHL, and now the NHL. Some might say, it's quite the rise, but it might be more of a desperation for the San Jose Sharks franchise. Robin Brownlee of Oilers Nation joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in today. Now, when you look at this Edmonton Oilers lineup, Robin, and Ryan McLeod was a guy who some people thought might be finding his way into the press box, but since that threat, or maybe it was playing his brother in Jersey, he's been pretty good. He's been moved to the wing to play with Leon Draisaitl. When you look at that line, Draisaitl, McLeod, and Foegele, what do you like about this that you think Coach Noblock says, hey, let's keep this rolling?
Well, Ryan McLeod has to go. Like any player, Ryan has to go where the goals are, and that's around the net. And he's been a guy up until now who's been guilty of being sort of a flyby guy. He's got the good wheels. He can get to the net, but the problem is he doesn't stay there often enough. He just keeps going. And, Leon is the, polar opposite. He'll, work the wall, work the sideboards, work behind the net, circle. He's always looking to make something happen around the net. If you go to that area and you're playing with Leon Draisaitl, you're going to get chances to score. I mean, anybody with 2 eyes watching the game can see that. And to me, it's as simple as that. It's a good combination because of style. I've also liked a little bit how Fogel's lugged the puck to the net too. He hasn't been as productive as you'd like of late, but that's where the goals are. I mean, that's where the defensemen are. That's where the tough plays are, and you're going to get knocked around a little bit. But if Ryan, I don't expect him to stand around in front like Ryan Smith used to. He's not that kind of player. But go to the net and look for the puck, and Leon Draisaitl will find a way to get it to you. That's a good line just based on style.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I like the speed. I like what Foegele brings this season. He's been great. That gives you the top line of McDavid, Hyman, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins too. So you get those rolling. Things are really going to open up. And I guess before we let you go here, how about Evander Kane finding a spot in the third line, according to Tony Brar from Oilers TV, who was with Derek Ryan and Matthias Janmark. What do you think about that group there?
Well, I think Evander Kane has to be in your top 6, but he's got to do the kind of things that we're talking about with the other guys that keep you there. You don't just get the spot because you're higher up on the payroll or you're a veteran or you had, a really good year, prior. The thing with Kane is this, Connor. He's been on and off since that wrist injury. Sometimes it looks like he's all the way back and he's dominant and he bangs and he makes things happen. And that's the thing. He's got a lot of tools. When he's on, he can run over you. He can run around you. And when he gets to the net, he knows what to do with the puck. But we haven't seen enough of that. So he's down lower in the lineup where he probably belongs right now, but you can bet he's the first man who's going to get the call too, because he's got top 6 skill. He's just not playing like that guy right now.
Robin, can I get an official prediction for you? Do the Oilers get revenge for Jason?
I want to see Gregor with like a Hulk Hogan thing happening, right? Oh, he'll kill me for that one. It's, you know what? The Oilers are going to win big. If they don't win big, there's a problem. This is a bad hockey club. Go out, show that you're a good hockey club, and really good hockey clubs, like I still believe the Oilers are, even with their inconsistency, beat bad hockey clubs, and there's no doubt that's what the San Jose Sharks are right now. They should win this game by 4 goals.
I'm with you. I'm not going to make any bets. I'm not going to say I'd grow my hair out for 6 months or anything like that, but I do think it will happen. Robin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, no worries, Connor. Thanks, man.
There you go. That is Robin Brownlee of Oilers Nation. Our Oil Report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. And, man, I go back to when Gregor made that statement and just kind of threw it out there. And I was like, you're right. The Oilers should win this game. The Sharks are not a good team. The Oilers have 2 of the best players in the world. They'll find a way to get it done. And then it all came crashing down. We'll see if they find a way to exercise those demons with Magnus Krona getting the start for the San Jose Sharks tonight when the 2 teams meet. Nice little 8:30 puck drop. When we come back, we'll talk about Christmas gifts that are small, that go a long way in your life. Just make your life easier and more. And some weird injuries in the sporting world. I got that for you as well. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, though, we're going to get to a sports update with Brandon Douglas, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Have a warm winter. Go to legacyheating.ca.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
No project too difficult. No problem too complex for Action Electrical. Edmonton's leading electrical contractor is a family-run business since 1973 and proud to offer complete commercial electrical services of the highest quality. When you need a contractor to design, build, implement, and maintain complex systems or emergency electrical assistance, help is here with the professionals. Book a service call at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's after 3 o'clock. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you, coming to you live from the EUL studios. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. The game starts before the puck drops at PlayAlberta.ca. New players get a $50 free bet when they use code SPORTS50. And remember, use your game sense when you're out there. The Edmonton Oilers in action tonight, taking on the San Jose Sharks. That'll be an 8:30 puck drop. Brandon, you got to be back here at You're on air at 7 a.m., so you got to be here by like 6 a.m. An 8:30 puck drop for you is tough. What's the game plan for you? Do you brew a coffee? What do you do here?
Well, coffee for sure. I'm going to have probably at least one or more 2 cups before I even leave the building this afternoon to keep myself up for the game. I'm not falling asleep on the couch watching it. And then tomorrow morning, it'll be probably 1 cup as soon as I get here, and then a few more mixed in throughout the course of the day, because it's just a rinse and repeat day, of course. Different guests, different segments, different things to talk about, but the timelines of the days will be the same. So repetition's good for the soul. Like I said right at the top, happy to do it in a pinch hitter situation. Hopefully we can avoid a few more technical difficulties like we had with Rube there. But, trying to run both the YouTube and the online or the on-air stream at the same time, I don't have enough hands. And these, as Kevin calls them, my sausage link fingers, they do not lend themselves well to the fine-tune instrumentation of an online YouTube stream. So we're working through it, though.
I couldn't even come close to what you're doing. So I appreciate it, because without you, we would just be off air, and I think there's problems with that. So big thank you for coming in here, doing this, and then you'll be back tomorrow morning. So hopefully people will text in to wake you up, give you the motivation you need. It is the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440 if you'd like to text in. I just wanted to throw this one out there because, Christmas is not necessarily about the gifts, but it is a nice little perk. And although I had to buy this for myself, that's the way it goes sometimes. You got to take advantage of the Boxing Day sales. I wanted to throw the question. Have you ever bought something so simple that just makes your life so much easier? Because if there's any more out there, I would like to really get into this. For the first 4 months of Sports 1440, I have been using my laptop and not used a mouse. I haven't had a wireless mouse. I'm using the little pad on the screen. It's like a Chromebook, so it's kind of nice that you have the touch screen with everything. But I finally, put up the $15, order a wireless mouse, and my life right now is so much easier. I can just scroll through things. I can sit back. When I'm now on camera on YouTube, shout out to those watching on YouTube, you probably see me like getting into my computer going crazy, but now I don't have to. The wireless mouse has really kind of revolutionized how I do things. So I just wanted to throw it out there to people watching, whether it is Facebook, YouTube, you're listening, text in 1-833-401-1440. What was something you recently bought or were given that just simplified your life? Like made things a little bit easier. I don't know if you have any, Brandon, off the top of your head, but this wireless mouse for me, shout out to the fine folks at No Free Plugs.
The fine folks at nofreeads.com, which I'm sure is a domain site. Off the top of my head, geez, I too made the switch to a wireless mouse for my laptop. Mine was quite a bit. I've had it since we started here at the station because I had it when I was at NATE having to do some editing on my laptop, audio editing, video editing thing. Much easier to use than the little touchpad type thing. So that's great. You know what? This goes back to the farm. Getting an investment, and it's a small investment, into like a good box cutter, X-Acto knife, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
One that you actually, it's not just given to you. Like every year we go buy silage paper from our distributor. They give you a knife with it, but it's cheap. It's nothing crazy. It's not really the one where you can replace blades on. Once the blade's in, it's fixed in there. It's broken. It's dull, whatever. But if you buy one where you can either replace blades or the exterior is a little bit more ergonomic on the handle, whatever, that's a really small thing that, whether it be cutting twines off bales, loose paneling, having to cut it loose after you tied it up because you were too lazy to fix the fence, whatever the case, I think a good knife can go a long way.
I'm with you. I mean, I don't really utilize it as much as you. I'm not really working out on the farm or anything, but a good knife. I mean, I saw it on Christmas morning.
It can make a difference in the kitchen too. Like a good knife to dice your veggies.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but I mean, hey, good knives are expensive. Because that mouse, it couldn't have ran you more than like $20 probably, could it?
$15. Amazon.
Best price.
It's a great deal. So yeah, for those of you looking for a mouse, I recommend you hop on Amazon. Another interesting story that kind of crossed us as we were sitting out there doing some prep. Aaron Gordon, one time, I believe, slam dunk champ, or right in there, that legendary contest in Toronto, plays with the Denver Nuggets. He's going to be missing some time. He required 21 stitches after suffering lacerations to his face and right hand. That's important. He's a basketball player. His shooting hand, 21 stitches, and he's going to be out for a little while. Kind of brought up the weird topic, and we always kind of touch on this every once in a while, but the weird injuries in sports that we've seen, like Martin Gramatica might be one of. It's funny. It's rude to say, but it was funny. Celebrating, he goes down.
Plaxico Burress
shooting himself in the club.
Trevor Bauer, the drone.
He was the drone. He was just dripping blood when he tried to tough it out there.
To the benefit of the Jays.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Hansen, the old Jags punter. Jack Del Rio brought in the axe to keep the mantra, keep chopping wood. He chopped his foot. I mean, there's certainly been some bad ones. Dustin Penner, I mean, we got in our YouTube chat, Penner's Pancakes. If you believe the reports, he was listing up a plate of pancakes from his wife. And, I mean, he only missed a game, but an unfortunate way for it to happen. There's been a lot of weird ones. Most recently, other than Aaron Gordon, David Njoku, he had the burns. Didn't miss any time, but he came into the game on the Sunday with like a face mask on because he burned his face. It's unfortunate. It probably happens in all walks of life, but I mean, to see it on a professional level and then kind of have to admit to it and own up to it sucks when it's a dog, because that would be extremely painful. But I don't know, Brandon, that's a tough one to miss time with.
Well, and then the Cleveland Browns in their like holiday social media posting had, all the big name Browns kind of in cartoon form around the living room, and David Njoku's caricature standing right next to the fireplace, and Njoku himself making the comment on I think it was Instagram page saying, can't believe you guys set me beside the fire there. So I think he's at the point where, able to make some jokes about and have a good laugh. Ultimate Warrior, like I said, I think he did miss one game. But even still, when he came back with, like I said, the full wrap on the face, and he's been a monster, especially the back half of the season. So all the power to him. That guy's a freak.
He has probably benefited more than anyone else when it comes to Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Elite. Can't wait to see him in action tonight.
It's going to be awesome. Thursday night football. Head down to the Canadian Brew House. Shout out to the CBH. Just the weird injuries. Not sure about this one. Miles says, hey guys, I heard of a guy throwing on his back, brushing his teeth. Might have been Brent Sopel. Alex the Great always thinks of Taylor Hall, the warm-up injury. That was nasty. The skate to the face during warm-up. I bet it feels really cool to play in the NHL and rip around in warm-ups with your bucket off. But man, that's a tough one to suffer. Taylor Hall, that one definitely stands out because I feel like that was almost pre-Twitter, or Twitter was in its infancy, and he'd run downstairs. And I remember turning the game on. Taylor Hall won't play. What the heck happened? We find out it was the skate blade to the face. And then Fleet's texting into 1-833-401-1440 AirPods, something he acquired. I didn't think I needed them. Got them for a gift 5 years ago, but I haven't gone back to corded earbuds since. And Fleets, the problem is when you do go back to the ones with the cord, they get in the way because you're so used to having that range of motion in front of you. And then you go back to the cord and it gets in the way all the time. I've been there. I deal with it on a daily basis. The thing
here in the studio, no wireless headphones in the studio.
No,
baby. We got to have that big aux.
If I did, I'd be spinning in this chair, but otherwise with the cord, I'd get tangled up in it.
And it keeps you grounded. I've never had wireless earphones. I've never really switched, but my newest phone finally one without a headphone jack. So I'm gonna have to probably that might be one of my Boxing Week purchases. I need a vacuum. We talked a little bit about that yesterday on the Frenzy.
Yeah.
And so between a vacuum and AirPods, I don't know which one is a higher priority. Probably the vacuum, if I'm being really honest. But who knows? Maybe I'll splurge and get both. I just will eat ramen for a couple weeks.
I did see one pop up on Facebook Marketplace. Remind me during the break. I'll show it to you. A friend of mine is trying to sell his. It's a Dyson.
Nothing like some good value shopping on a vacuum cleaner. I'm all about that life.
It works. It sucks. And that's
sucks.
The key.
It sucks good.
It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you here. If you are just tuning in, Gregor will join us at 5:20 to help get you ready for the Oilers and the San Jose Sharks. Still to come on the program. Of course, we have Mark Spector at 5 o'clock. We'll be joined by Mike Rupp at 4. Shang Pang at 3:40 from San Jose Hockey Now. A lot of questions for Shang. Obviously, we have the news, if you're just tuning in, that Magnus Krona will get the start tonight. A 23-year-old goaltender played in one game so far this season, and it did not go too well. Allowed 4 goals, made 13 saves. Save percentage, not great. Goals against average is hovering around 7. He'll look to improve upon those numbers when the Oilers take on the Sharks. Also want to ask Shang about traveling from LA to San Jose after the game, because the San Jose, whatever county it's in, does have that curfew for flights. So, I mean, how difficult does that make things when they're trying to get in for a home and home or back-to-back games in consecutive nights? We'll see if maybe they get a way around it or something like that. And Bill Bender will join us next. Lots to talk about in the NFL. He covers the league with the sporting news. And, I mean, Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos. I don't know how many people would have thought after 2 years that would be it, but it is looking like that could happen. And then, jumping ahead to the draft, I know there's a lot of fan bases out there that could not care less about the draft. It's so far away. They got more important things to worry about. But, the Denver Broncos, the Raiders, the Commanders, potentially the Bears and other teams, they're going to be looking at the quarterback position. And now what do the Denver Broncos do? Does this begin a rebuild? You try to find someone who can maybe fill the gap for a couple of years? Is it maybe making a trade? The Denver Broncos situation certainly got a whole lot more interesting over the last 24 hours. So we'll talk to Bill about that one. One last text coming in here from Graham. The question was, weird things you might have got that just made life a lot simpler. He says, battery maintainers on the farm over the winter, cheap, and everything is ready to go when you need them, from Graham. You have some farm experience, Brandon.
Yeah, only my whole life. Save the last 4 months, I guess, since I decided to make the drastic career change into sports talk radio. But little things like that. Extension cords. Oh my God, you can never have enough extension cords at the farm, whether it be during the wintertime, making sure everything's plugged in overnight so it actually will start in the morning. All the diesel engines and the tractors. If you're out doing something where maybe you're not necessarily in your shop or work area and you're running long stretches out from either the power plant in the back of the ATV, the tractor bucket, or right from the shop wall out into the middle of the yard where you're working on something, can never have enough extension cords. So it goes hand in hand with the battery maintainers, booster cables, the little things like that you probably use every day and you can never have enough of. 9/16 wrenches. Those they always go missing. I don't know what it is.
And then we got on the YouTube chat, Reaper says EDC pocket knife is what went through my head. A great answer there. So the pocket knives, they're handy. Good to keep on your person. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little NFL with Bill Bender. You're listening to the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Get your vehicle ready for winter with Jiffy Lube. Drive-in, drive-out service with 25 extra air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Be wise, winterize. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Think of us as the opening act for Kevin Carius. This is Jonas Knox from Fox Sports. Join me, Brady Quinn, and LeVar Arrington weekday mornings from 4 to 7. It's two pros and a cup of Joe right here on Sports 1440.
It's time to get excited about driving again. Volvo Cars Edmonton makes it easy, and they'll make your first 2 bi-weekly lease payments on any Volvo model. Step into the intelligent design of the Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid, and you'll save an additional $3,500. Volvo certified pre-owned vehicles start as low as 1.24%. Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-o-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
21. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube, as well as Facebook. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Could have some fun tonight. The Oilers in action. Also, we got Thursday night football. maybe the over for Joe Flacco passing yards. I mean, he is elite. Why not go for it? That Jets defense, though, could be tough. As always, though, use your game sense. We're coming to you live from the eWell Studios, where the world of electricity and sports collide. Stay plugged in as we power up your day with the latest sports updates, ewel.ca. Of course, you can always reach us at the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. Love those texts coming in here. We've got one, and I think this is a great idea. Boreal Bernie says, good people / passerbys should all bring you some fortifying provisions and refreshments by the West Edmonton Mall Studios, at least for the last few days. I agree. Well, we had Norman a Combine brought us some cinnamon buns once. That was fantastic. I mean, we've had some nice drop-offs, but we do this for the love of the game, Brandon. So we do not require that. Right now, why don't we get into the NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No OT charges, furnace repair, and maintenance. Do it now with legacyheating.ca. We bring in Bill Bender, who covers the NFL with his sporting news. You give him a follow on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at BillBender92. Bill, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, glad you were able to do this. We really do appreciate it as we take a look into the NFL. And I mean, the biggest news in the last 24 hours has to be Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos and all that's transpired. I don't know who would have thought, after all that the Broncos paid to acquire Wilson and the money they gave him, the guarantees, that he could be done after 2 years. What's the latest on this whole Russell Wilson situation and the Denver Broncos?
Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's fine. Some of it's financial, and some of it's maybe that this actually could happen. They were very disappointing in that Christmas night or Christmas Eve? I can't even remember. It seems like ages ago. Loss against New England. They didn't look real good, and obviously, it might mean that they've got their eyes on one of these quarterbacks in the draft, right? And this is a very friendly quarterback draft class right at the top with Drake May and Caleb Williams. So maybe that's in the Broncos' future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and even if you have to pay a little bit of money and there is a cap hit, you would have this rookie on their rookie contract, which certainly would go a long ways. When you look around the NFL right now, and we kind of talked about it on our other show, Fantasy Frenzy, earlier on today, there could be a lot of teams that are QB needy when it comes to the draft. I'm looking at the Patriots. We have to decide what the Bears are going to do with Justin Fields, but maybe the Falcons, maybe the Raiders. I mean, how many quarterbacks do you think could go in the first round of the NFL draft, although it is still, months away?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, those two I mentioned are no doubters to me. And then you start to get into, well, what if Quinn Ewers comes out? What if J.J. McCarthy comes out? There's two more, and you'll see them in the college football playoff. I think Michael Penix will have a chance to be one of those guys. And, then you go from there. And you always have a late riser, so to speak. A Jaden Daniels likely will be in the first round as well. And as you guys know, I mean, I'm not telling anything that's rocket science here, but that position is not overvalued, but everybody wants one. So there'll probably be at least 5 or 6 drafted in the first round.
Looking forward to it. Bill Bender joining us here from the Sporting News, talking all things NFL on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas with you today. When you look at the LA Chargers, Bill, and their head coach search, there's a couple names that have been brought up. Harbaugh out of Michigan, Bill Belichick. The rumors have been going on for a little while here. Who do you think might be a good coach for them to look at to guide Justin Herbert and the rest of that franchise into the next couple of years here?
Well, I would say the Jim Harbaugh rumors are starting to pick up, and they will continue to pick up, especially if Michigan loses in this Rose Bowl a couple days. And part of the reason why is they're out west right now. And Jim Harbaugh, if he chooses to leave Michigan, and that you've heard about the rumored extension and not flirting with the NFL, but Chargers would be a wonderful fit. I've been telling people all week, coaches with at least 4 seasons, Jim Harbaugh ranks in the top 5 all-time NFL winning percentage. Guys like John Madden, George Allen, and Vince Lombardi are on that list. So I don't think he would miss a beat if he went to the Chargers with the amount of talent that they have, if that's what he chooses to do.
Is there any other franchise that you think could make a run at Harbaugh if he does decide to make that leap back to the NFL?
Well, the Bears have been linked, obviously, but Kevin Warren, the former Big Ten commissioner, is the president of the Bears, and there is a awkward relationship there. Now, I always say, the NFL have awkward relationships and they still work out. You know, Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones had one of those. So, we'll see. I think they're one. The Panthers obviously have an opening. I don't know if the Patriots would go there, but, Robert Kraft is a guy that likes having success. And some of that is predicated on whether or not Bill Belichick is their coach next year.
Bill Bender joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, taking a look at the NFL. He covers the league for the Sporting News. Bill, the MVP talk has been very interesting over the last 2-3 weeks. It seemed like Dak Prescott was getting a lot of love. Then you had Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. And then after Monday night's game, Lamar Jackson seems like he's kind of catapulted himself in there, obviously with the team success as well. If you had to rank your MVP nominees, maybe 1 through 3, how do you think it would look for you right now?
It's fluid, obviously. I think Lamar Jackson, I think Tyreek Hill is in that conversation with what he's been able to do with that Miami offense. I know he's been a little injured. I think Dak Prescott still has some room to stay in that conversation, depending on what Dallas does over the next couple of weeks. It is weird, though, that we don't have Mahomes. And I'll keep McCaffrey in that. So if you ask me 1 through 3, I'll give you an honest answer. It'd probably be Lamar, McCaffrey, one quarterback. And I know Mahomes is not a down year, but a little bit of an off year. And Josh Allen is making a late surge with the Bills. But, this could be one of those years where if it's not Lamar Jackson, one of those non-quarterbacks, and we haven't had one since Adrian Peterson, could win the NFL MVP.
Yeah, we do our fantasy show, Brandon Douglas and I, and that's kind of been a hot topic. We feel like we've jinxed the guys. We were all over Dak Prescott, then he had a bit of a tough game. We hopped on the Brock Purdy bandwagon. He had a bit of a tough game. So it's certainly going to be an interesting race as the season continues on here. Let's look ahead at tonight's game. And Joe Flacco, ever since he's come back, he's greatly improved the fantasy points when it comes to Cooper and Njoku. What do you think about him against that New York Jets defense tonight, primetime?
Well, if you're in a pinch, but chances are if you're in a championship game, you've got a pretty good quarterback in there. Now, I don't know how many fantasy championship games will be decided by Joe Flacco, but man, he's had a great last month. One thing that worries me is Amari Cooper, questionable. So you don't know if his reps will be limited a little bit. I know you should start David Njoku because he definitely has had a really good connection with Joe Flacco. I think that could be a little bit of a defensive game with the Jets. So I don't know if Joe Flacco's 300-yard streak continues, but man, he is throwing that ball down the field with that offense and doing a great job.
Yeah, it's certainly been fun to watch for sure. That game gets going at 6:15, Jets and Browns. Just a couple more here for you, Bill. Really appreciate you coming on the show today. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, and I know you touched on him a little bit there, have you noticed anything in his game where he has declined, or do you think it is just kind of the lack of receivers and drops and tipped balls in the most crucial situations that have maybe affected him and the statistics that he's put up so far this year?
Well, the inability to push the ball down the field. Rashee Rice has been okay, and Travis Kelce's had some drops. Kadarius Toney's had some drops. I go back to that Green Bay game when I watched that. He made some out of this world throws that were dropped. And it's a stop and start running game. Hasn't been helped with Isaiah Pacheco's been out, and now he has a concussion. So they just haven't put it all together. But for all of those things, we're still talking about a 9-6 team that is fully capable of making a run in the AFC playoffs. So that's why I said, I don't even know what to call it, an off year, a down year. I don't think all of this is on Patrick Mahomes because we know the tremendous talent. But that game against the Raiders, when he has 10 rushing attempts, a lot of scrambles, you kind of know that something's wrong. Patrick Mahomes can't be having 11 and 12 rushing attempts in a game.
Now, Bill, last question for you. I got to ask you. Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers. What have you thought of him in his first year as the full-time starter?
Well, as you guys know, I'm a fan. So, it's been an up and down year, especially with the defense. But I think Jordan Love's exceeded all expectations when you consider he's got a young receiver group. Christian Watson's been hurt. Last week, Jaden Reed's been hurt. Dontavian Wicks got hurt. Aaron Jones has been hurt. The offensive line's been banged up. And here he is just making play after play after play. And I think the future is bright on that side of the ball. Obviously, they need to get some things sorted out on the defensive end. I think they'll beat Minnesota, and I think they'll have a chance to win an in when they play the Bears in Week 18. depending on what happens around them. So if the Packers were able to make the playoffs, if they get beat or who they play in the first round, you couldn't look at that and say it wasn't a success.
I totally agree with you. Bill, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate you coming on.
You guys have a happy new year. Thanks so much for having me on. Take care. We'll talk again soon.
For sure. That is Bill Bender of the Sporting News. That is our NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. And if you want to give Bill a follow on Twitter or X at BillBender92. Some text coming in here. Jasmine asking about Amari Cooper. Will he play tonight? Thoughts? Brandon, you and I, we host a fantasy football, fantasy hockey, fantasy baseball, whatever you want to call it. It's a fantasy show every day here on Sports 1440 from 11 till noon. And Amari Cooper, I mean, right now with the heel injury listed as questionable, it's going up against a tough defense on a short week. I guess it depends on your options, Jasmine. I mean, who else do you have to go out there? I mean, if it's slim pickings, I think you got to roll with Amari Cooper. But if you've got some good depth there, I think I'd consider looking at it because all these factors combined, it could potentially be a tough night for Cooper.
I think Cooper not playing will significantly hinder I think the Browns win this game regardless, mostly because their defense is also very good. Like, do not be mistaken. This isn't the Washington Commanders defense that the Jets are going up against this week. So they're going to struggle to score points. But whether it be from a fantasy perspective or just a kind of offensive output for the team as a whole, Amari Cooper not playing would allow them to provide extra coverage on a guy like David Njoku, who is, as Bill mentioned, really been kind of the top man. Or the most reliable target for Joe Flacco since coming in. But after what Amari Cooper did last week, if he's playing, you have to have him in your starting lineup, I think. Even if he's nursing something a little bit. Yes, the Jets are a tough D, and there's a good chance that he will see their top DBs on him in the pass game. But with that being said, like, he's an unreal receiver. We talked last week on Fantasy Frenzy about DK Metcalf maybe not getting enough love. I think Amari Cooper is kind of in the same camp. I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend like I think he's in the top echelon of receivers. Like maybe I was trying to tease the line a bit on DK Metcalf, but I think he's right at the top of that second grouping of guys. He's been at it a long time. He's only like 29. Seems like he's been in the league for 15 years already. So I'm a Amari Cooper owner in both my leagues, in the finals both weeks, both matchups this weekend. If he's playing, he's in my starting lineup come tonight.
I mean, in like the last 2 weeks, he's been good. But before that, he hadn't had a double-digit performance since week 9. I don't know if I like, because the New York Jets, 6 of their last 9 matchups or opponents have been held to under 150 passing yards.
None of those guys were Joe Flacco.
Well, yeah, Joe Flacco.
It was a bunch of other guys like C.J. Stroud and Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. You know, guys who were actually elite and not just a figment of our weird memory where we latch onto these guys that when they were actually playing, we absolutely maligned them and criticized them on a week-to-week basis, as was the case with Joe Flacco. So I'm in on the Browns. I think they're a really good team. I think they're pretty much just behind the Ravens in terms of contenders in the AFC. I think they're a better team than the Dolphins. I think they're a better team than the Chiefs. Run down the list, better than the Bills, etc. So I'm big in on the Browns. And yes, they probably won't be able to run up and put up 260-plus receiving yards to one guy like they did last weekend, but I still think they'll have a decent night and win this game pretty handily.
Joe Flacco, it's got one of these. It's got the ring.
A ring.
Those guys you listed don't have rings.
You were looking at me and doing that, but your hand was still below the monitor.
Show on YouTube.
I couldn't see what you were doing. I guess I could watch the screen behind me. Yes, it's new to me. I'm not used to being on the YouTube stream still. So
me neither.
You play into the camera. That's not in my wheelhouse.
I don't know if I'm supposed to look straight into the camera. I didn't get the training on that one, but sometimes I'm just looking around. I look at the people in the mall. I wave.
Lock eyes with the camera intently.
But then I can't read my liners. So I'm constantly looking down. It's a battle. Go to YouTube, Oilers Nation. You can just watch me struggle to try to do a couple things here. Gregor makes it look easy. I'm still in the infancy, trying to learn these things. So, Jasmine, we really didn't answer your question. I'm saying, without knowing the depth of your team, I don't know if I like Amari Cooper this week because he's been just kind of a boom or bust type guy, but Brandon likes it. So send in the rest of your roster. Maybe we'll examine it and share our thoughts, and we wish you the best. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to go out to San Jose. Shang Pang will join us from San Jose Hockey Now, as well as the NBC Bay Area group. We'll talk about the Sharks tonight. Who is Magnus. We don't know much about him, but we'll get some background. Magnus Corona gets a start for the Sharks tonight. This is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube stream.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Boxing Day sale is on now. Scratch and save 10 to 60% off store-wide. Time to spend that Christmas cash and buy yourself what you didn't get for Christmas. United Sport and Cycle, your favorite sports store for over 95 years.
When you think local, think corporate business solutions. Local service, local support, local always. CBS is the largest Konica Minolta office equipment dealer in Western Canada with a full line of multifunction office devices, printers, mail machines, and software solutions. When you call CBS, you'll speak with a live person located right here in Edmonton, and most issues can be resolved over the phone within 20 minutes or less. Call Corporate Business Solutions today, 780-490-5600, or visit cbsca.com.
Storm chasing sounds exciting. Most days, though, it's a lot of standing in the rain. But you know what's exciting and dry? PlayAlberta.ca, with hundreds of new live tables, online casino games, and instants.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code Casino50 and get a $50 welcome bonus. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
I've won my fantasy league 7 years in a row. Something we get to hear about every weekend.
And he stops at nothing to win.
I have my techniques. Oh, yeah. Like the time you got us all plastered the night before draft.
Or the time you sent yo mama jokes to me until I agreed to your trade.
But every year, I take my winnings and buy everyone Wilhauk beef jerky.
Wilhauk beef jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
It's the only reason why I'm still talking to you.
Yo mama still talks to me too.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Summit Restaurant is now open. Located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common, Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Open 7 days a week. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel, as well as Facebook, Twitter. We are everywhere. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in today. If you want to get into the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440 is the line to do so. Also, you can book your oil change today at jiffylubeservice.ca. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers in action tonight, set to take on the San Jose Sharks, who are struggling as of late. The Edmonton Oilers, though, kind of under those circumstances last time these two teams met. The Sharks got the victory. So nothing will come easy for this Edmonton Oilers hockey team. Right now, we're going to go in the room, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. Congrats to Devo on making the national bobsleigh team. Good luck at the World Cup events and Olympic qualifier a great success story from the fine folks at nextgentransportation.com. We bring in Shang Pang. He covers the San Jose Sharks for NBC Sports as well as San Jose Hockey Now. Shang, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Hey, pretty good. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going very good. I got a question for you before we get going here. I mean, it is related to the San Jose Sharks, but I know flying into San Jose after a certain time is outlawed because of bylaws in the region. So when the San Jose Sharks wrap up a game down in Los Angeles and then have to book it home, do you know like what is kind of the timeline for that? How fast they have to get out of the rink to the airport and try to get back to San Jose in time?
I actually don't know the exact timeline, but I know that they always try to get out by basically 11. So
it's a quick one.
Home advantage there.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things we've always kind of talked about, but I'm not entirely how it works. But for the San Jose Sharks, if you want to get out of there and get home quickly, a nice little bit of a motivator there for sure. Magnus Krona, he's going to get the start tonight. He's played in one game so far this year, and it didn't go ideal. His goals against average sitting at 7.87. I believe he allowed 4 goals against the Penguins and a 10-2 loss. But a guy who's kind of, he's worked his way up. Had good numbers at the University of Denver. Well, what do you expect out of Magnus Krona tonight as he faces McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, a lot of top-end scorers for the Edmonton Oilers?
Hard to say. Really, not much of an idea because even with the Barracuda this year, where he's had most of his pro experience, not eye-popping numbers. Granted, the Barracuda, not as bad as the Sharks, but Barracuda aren't exactly known for playing the most airtight of team defenses. So he has some experience with that. But yeah, he's a big guy, relies on his positioning, 6'6", with one of the better nicknames for a goalie out there. Magnus Krona, big time. And so if he does hit the big time for the Sharks, he has a ready-made nickname.
Now, what's the kind of the attitude been around the team with Magnus getting the start tonight? Is it kind of, you think maybe a little more focus on defense to try to help out that young goalie, or I'm not even trying to make a pun here, but like sink or swim when it comes to the San Jose Sharks goaltending situation?
I think they're going to try. I think everyone is aware of kind of the situation at hand. It was a really bad situation that he stepped into. You mentioned that Pittsburgh game. It just in relief of Mackenzie Blackwood that game, and obviously a game, they gave up 10 goals that game, then they gave up 10 goals 2 nights before against the Vancouver Canucks. The first time in like over 50 years that a team has given up 10 or more goals in a game. So not a good environment. So they're going to try, but the thing with the Sharks is that it's been tough for them this year to play 60 minutes of good defense, just because the team is not as honestly as talented. And so they've had a lot of trouble with that. And so they're going to try it. Hopefully they can make life a little easier for Magnus.
Shang Pang joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, talking a little bit about the Oilers and Sharks as they meet tonight, 8:30 puck drop Mountain Time. So get that cup of coffee, and you got to stay up late for this one. Shang, looking at Logan Couture, any update for him trying to make a comeback at some point here?
Yeah, there's no timeline yet, but he has been progressing. He's joined morning skate. He's joined practices. Not necessarily full tilt, not participating at every drill, but this is the farthest that he's come along with his injury. And so there's, again, no exact timeline, but he's getting there. And so hopefully, I'm sure they hope sometime next month that he can make his season debut.
Now, when you look at the Sharks so far this season, Shang, I mean, obviously, a lot of people knew this would be a long year for this team, moving out some crucial pieces. Mike Greer probably looking at this as a rebuild. But is this pretty much on par with what you had expected to see from the team this season?
I think if you could take out the 0-10-1 start and redistribute those losses elsewhere, the record is about right. I don't think this team was expected to challenge for a playoff spot. I think this team was favored to be a team that would have the best lottery odds or in that range. And so I think the overall record is about what was expected, but obviously that 11-game losing streak to start the season, no one can expect something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the losses were bad, but also the fashion that they were coming in. There's a couple stretches there. I think it was the Penguins and the Canucks who just kind of, it's almost like a punching bag. They're just beating up on them. When you look at Mike Greer and what he has to do to turn this team around, just got their contracts up here. Got a lot of guys kind of playing on 1-year contracts. Do you expect them to be sellers sooner than later, or try to keep this group together?
I think they're going to sell when they get something good in return. So that could be sooner or later. I guess it makes sense to wait more to the deadline because you might get better offers. But then there might be teams that want to kind of jump the gun a little bit and not wait until the deadline to make their best offers. And so yeah, so I think it's pretty much open sale for a lot of that roster. Like you mentioned, a lot of 1-year contracts or guys with 2-year contracts left. So yeah.
Shang Pang joining us here from San Jose Hockey Now on the Jason Gregor Show, talking about the San Jose Sharks, the Oilers' opponent tonight, as the two teams meet down in California. Now, the last time these two teams met, Shang, I don't know if you had seen it on Twitter or anything like that, but our usual host, Jason Gregor, he predicted an Oilers victory, and he said if the Oilers don't win, he would grow out his hair for the next 6 months. Now, that number has been dropped to 3 months. The hair is growing out. If you can take us back to that game, was it a case of the Oilers struggling because they were struggling, or was there anything that San Jose did well, in your opinion?
Well, they had good goaltending that night. Mackenzie Blackwood, I believe, turned away 40 plus shots. And so I think that was a lot of it because if I remember correctly, Edmonton outshot San Jose like 43-17. Obviously, the Sharks were opportunistic in that game. Whatever chances the Oilers gave them, the Sharks put away. But I think that was probably the biggest factor. And so, yeah, we'll see if Krona can provide any goaltending like that. And anyway, good thing for Jason that he didn't make the bad dog bet and threatened to quit his job. So
that would have been something because, yeah, we would have all been in a lot of trouble here at Sports 1440 if that had happened. Shang, so what is the key tonight, taking on the Edmonton Oilers? They've had slow starts in their last couple games. Talking about the Oilers here and battled back in the third period. I think it's something they don't want to make a habit of. But when you've got McDavid and Draisaitl coming to town, what is the game plan to try to slow those two down?
For the Sharks, it's I think cross your fingers and pray. Obviously, hopefully, Krona is up to the task. Not the easiest way to start your NHL career, coming in relief of a 10-goal against game in Pittsburgh, and now the Oilers with McDavid, Draisaitl, and obviously you guys are hot too.
Yeah, it's been an interesting stretch. Well, Shang, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it. We'll have to get you back on later on in the new year.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. That is Shang Pang of San Jose Hockey Now, as well as NBC Sports Bay Area. Yeah, I mean, there was an old comment made by Junior Seau about how you slow down LaDainian Tomlinson. Not going to repeat it, but I think you could go like, hey, how do you slow down McDavid and Draisaitl? Hope they had too much turkey at Christmas, right? Like, they're tough to slow down on their own. McDavid obviously kind of, after a bit of a, air quotes, slow start, found his game. Draisaitl has had some ups and downs, but you still see those flashes of brilliance. And playing with McLeod and Warren Foegele, I think that's going to be interesting. There'll be a lot of speed on that line, and Draisaitl can hopefully, utilize that and capitalize. But we shall see. That was in the room for Next Gen Transportation. Check them out at nextgentransportation.com. Jasmine did reply into the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440, asking about earlier on, will Amari Cooper play? He is questionable with the heel injury, short week, Jets defense. It's tough, but her bench is quite injured. Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, and Keenan Allen. She thinks she'll have to ride with Amari, and I think you will have to ride with Amari. Keenan Allen's got the heel injury as well, and Josh Palmer was practicing on the sideline with a concussion. So I think you got to go with Coop.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate situation. That's the thing about fantasy football. You can parlay it over to fantasy hockey, but of course, with this weekend being championship weekend for most leagues, at least leagues that have brains in their head and aren't playing on week 18, that can be a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But you can be the best team all year long, roll your way to the first round of playoffs, and then a couple bad injuries hit you. And I was lucky to get by, but like anybody that had CJ Stroud carrying their team as he did for most of the season, and then misses the first week of playoffs last week. And then even if he managed to get through that, misses a second week with a concussion, I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up sinking a ton of people's rosters. Even without Tank Dell, I'm sure he would have still been a pretty solid start for that Houston team. Maybe not against the Browns this past weekend, but digressing back, Yeah, injuries are the worst, and it can sink a fantasy team in a matter of a couple weeks, and it's tough to recover from it. So, Jasmine, you have my sympathies, but hey, let's ride together. I'll have Amari Cooper out there with both my squads. Once again, got to keep close tabs, as close to game time as possible. Make sure that he is, in fact, taking warm-ups and going to be on the field for tonight's game against the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just envious that you guys are still playing fantasy football.
You've been out for years, Connor. You haven't.
Well, yeah. I mean, exaggeration. I mean, I did go to a bunch of league championships back to back to back, but yeah, it's felt like years. It's felt like a long time.
This season's playoff race, you were officially eliminated by Canadian Thanksgiving?
Give or take. It was a slow start. The injuries that Jasmine has, I kind of had that throughout the entirety of the season. Not to make excuses, but I'm not one to make excuses, but if I were, this would be my excuse that my team devastatingly injured. It would be facts. Obviously, that game's going to be an interesting one. Jets and Browns. The Browns deserve a lot of respect, though. Like for what they've been able to do. I don't think
they are getting enough credit.
No, and I mean, do I think that elite Joe Flacco is going to carry this team on a run in the playoffs? Maybe. You know what?
He's fresh. He's only had to play, 3 games so far?
Yeah, I think I sounded like I was going to say no. But then, the Bills are so up and down. The Chiefs are so up and down. The Ravens have been on a good run. But who knows? Maybe they'll lose this week and we'll start to question them.
It is kind of the time of year where Lamar, he's actually it should have been a week or two ago that Lamar Jackson all of a sudden has some sort of injury that holds him out the final few weeks of the season. And if he plays in the playoff game, he might not be at full health. So I think that's always lingering in the back of the minds of Ravens fans, because yes, Lamar is dynamic as they come, but as a result, that risk for injury always a little bit more, whether it be when he's taking off for a run, the willingness to hold the ball in the pocket, things like that. So that's always lingering. But yeah, to me, the Ravens are top of the power rankings in the AFC, and they're clearly number one. But the Browns, I think, are also, for me, a pretty clear number 2 because of how good they've been on both sides of the football. Other than that, I think the Bills are probably the team that scares me the most next. I'm not afraid of the Dolphins, and I am not and I have no reason to be. Their defense is good. It's not exactly like they're just going to score 70 points every week and try and win 70-60. That's not the team. But outside of that, there's not really another team in the AFC that gives me the heebie-jeebies. The AFC South. It's not as bad as we thought it would be, but I'll tell you this, that doesn't mean it's good.
No, for sure. And you just look at that division with Deshaun Watson when he's healthy, up in the air, we'll see. But you got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're so well coached, you've got a good defense. Do you have to cut bait with Kenny Pickett? Is he showing you enough that he can be the guy? Because you're going to be right in that mediocrity phase where, we'll fight for a playoff spot and we'll be close, but can we beat Lamar Jackson? Can we beat Joe Burrow? I'm interested to see.
This quarterback conversation, which has realistically extended across every portion of the program today on Sports 1440. We talked about it with Kevin. We talked about it on Fantasy Frenzy. I'm sure Brad and Marty dipped in on it during the lowdown. Of all that stuff, I think this is the first time that the Steelers and Kenny Pickett have come up just to join that laundry list of other teams that we have discussed that who is going to be their starting quarterback next year. Did they bring in a veteran to try and push Pickett more? Do they completely cut bait and try and start anew? Is Mason Rudolph the guy? ? I don't think so, but he sure looked good this past weekend. So, it's like I said right at the top of the show, it is crazy. It's been a wild NFL season, and I've enjoyed pretty well every bit of it, minus the Tank Dell and CJ Stroud injuries.
Chomsker's in the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. If the Browns are on the road, Flacco will win. It's in Cleveland. So does that mean the Browns will lose? We'll find out. Joe Flacco's playoff run a couple of years ago, he was elite. And then Ed from Comox. That's how you pronounce
Comox,
that, right?
BC, yeah.
I'm not too familiar with BC. I'll have to take some research here. But he's
out on the island.
Is it? Okay. I've only been to the island once. Beautiful out there. Oilers fan in BC. The Oilers and the Canucks have switched positions. The Oilers are now where the Canucks were last year, finding it very hard to make up ground. The Canucks played 600 plus hockey after their coaching change last year, still couldn't make it, ran out of runway. Yeah, the Oilers definitely made that coaching move earlier, hoping to spark the change. Last year, man, that was tough to watch with Bruce Boudreau. Just, knowing he was going to get fired, but having to show up night in, night out, that was a tough situation. But yeah, I mean, that kind of shows you why, if you feel like you have to make a move and you're a GM, you make that move. You don't delay it because eventually you will run out of time. Chomskers does clarify in the playoffs. Joe Flacco on the road will win. Well, yeah, I mean, he'll probably have to go on the road. Ravens likely have that division wrapped up.
I would think the Browns are probably pretty comfortably in that 5 seed, and it come a couple weeks time when the playoffs get going. And as a result of that, there is a situation where we could end up seeing an all AFC North championship game on January 28th with Ravens and Browns. And I like I said, I think those are the two best teams. I would love to see them meet up in the playoffs. Even if it does end up being in the divisional round rather than the championship game, I'd still love to see it all the same.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the Browns. Are they a team that could go into a Kansas City, a Buffalo, wherever it might be, and win? I mean, they do have that solid defense, right? Myles Garrett might be the best defensive player in football.
Good thing for them is they're going to have to go into one of Jacksonville, Indianapolis, or even possibly Houston.
Yeah, quite nice, actually.
Can Houston still win the division? I think they can, technically. But they'd have to, I think it's more likely they probably have a win and in game in week 18 versus the Colts. But either way, probably going to be a Indy or Jacksonville 4 seed. And as a result, that's who the Browns would play. I think they can easily win that road game.
Joe Flacco needs to limit the interceptions. He's thrown 5 in his last couple games. We'll see if that continues tonight.
But how many touchdowns, Connor?
5.
Oh.
Not a great ratio. On the season, though, 10-7.
Also not great.
Not amazing.
Hey, he's a gunslinger.
You get that good defense. Chomsker says, I've got Miami, Cleveland in the AFC final. That would certainly be something. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Mike Rupp, former NHLer, current NHL Network analyst, also covers the Pittsburgh Penguins as the color commentator. We'll hear the ski report with our very own Brandon Douglas. Also, we'll get to 5 questions later on. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, Jason Gregor, the host of this show, and Oilers Nation. And we'll get to the lines as well. Maybe hear some Oilers audio before we wrap up on the Jason Gregor Show Thursday, December 28th edition. I'm Connor Halley. He is Brandon Douglas. And as always, the show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, though, we will get to a sports update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Fountain Tire is more than just tires. They offer a wide range of auto repair and services from their expert mechanics. Visit FountainTire.com to see all the mechanical services they offer. Here is Brandon Douglas.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It is Oilers game day as Edmonton is back in action following the Christmas break, getting going tonight in Northern California, taking on the San Jose Sharks. Magnus Krona getting the start for San Jose. Stuart Skinner going for the Oil. Puck drop scheduled for 8:30 Mountain Time. 3 other games in the NHL. Carolina hosting Montreal, Philly in Vancouver, and the LA Kings are in Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. World Junior action earlier today. USA beat Switzerland 11-3, and Germany, they get shut out by Sweden 5-0. From the Spengler Cup, Team Canada losing to HC Davos 4-3 and now sitting at 1-1 in the tournament. Final Thursday night football of the year will kick off Week 17 in the NFL. Cleveland, they host the New York Jets. Cleveland coming in winners of their last 3 and continuing to fight for positioning in the AFC playoff race. 8 games from the hardwood tonight, including Detroit trying to avoid a 28th straight loss when they visit the Celtics. Chicago hosts the Pacers, and Miami is in NorCal to play the Golden State Warriors. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by NHL Network analyst Mike Rupp. Check in with the new edition of the Ski Report, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Brandon Douglas. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
It's time to get excited about driving again. Volvo Cars Edmonton makes it easy, and they'll make your first 2 bi-weekly lease payments on any Volvo model. Step into the intelligent design of the Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid, and you'll save an additional $3,500. Volvo certified pre-owned vehicles start as low as 1.24%. Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-o-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
Hey, this is Ben Maller. Do you work the midnight shift? Maybe you can't sleep. Let's stay up together. The Ben Maller Show airs weekdays from midnight to 4 right here on Sports 1440. I got to tell you, it's pretty exciting to be in the Edmonton market.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But when it's time to take her in for repairs, some of that love fades. That's because it can take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive replace your timing belt before it's too late. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. Mark your calendars from December 1st to January 1st as Edmonton's largest indoor Christmas lights display, Glow Edmonton, returns to the Edmonton Expo Centre. Experience the magic of over 1 million lights featuring a festive market, food, live performances, Glow Commotion train rides, pictures with Santa, and more. Get your tickets and learn more about what's on by visiting our calendar of events at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of the many living on borrowed time with your old furnace, praying that you can make it through another winter? You have been blessed so far, but stop gambling with your family's comfort and safety and get a new Daikin furnace with the best warranty in the business. Right now, we're offering free furnace upgrades, which means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. With multiple financing options also available, there's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. Visit wjheats.com today.
When skies turn gray and chaos unfolds, there's always a beacon of hope. The Red Cross. Through floods, fires, and unforeseen calamities, they are the helping hands, mending wounds and restoring faith. They're there in our darkest hours, outshining the storm. Extend your hand. Join this chain of goodwill. Your donation could be a life buoy for someone in desperation. Visit redcross.ca. Donate today. Light a lamp of hope.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.405, it is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can score big with the same game parlay at PlayAlberta.ca. Sign up today with the code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Make sure to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you here as we're talking all things real sports. No fantasy sports, maybe a little fantasy sports, but straying away from what we usually do from 11 till noon here on Sports 1440. Shout out to everyone tuning in on the Oilers Nation YouTube stream as well. Let's hit that like button. It's good for the algorithm. That's what I was taught on my time with the Oilers Nation, doing Oilers Nation After Dark. It is game day. Oilers taking on the San Jose Sharks. Puck drop in that one at 8:30. That means from 7 till 8:30, we do have some pregame coverage on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel with Aaron Bordato. Pregaming with Bordsy, 7 o'clock on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel. I got the thumbs up. Does that mean Mike Rupp is ready to go? Oh, beautiful. We'll get to that right now. Mike Rupp will be our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides. Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches safely taking your team or group to their next destination. Visit silentrides.ca for more information. We bring in former NHLer, Pittsburgh Penguins color analyst, and NHL Network analyst Mike Rupp. Mike, a good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Connor. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really good, thank you. I like that jersey set up behind you. Got the Oilers represented, the Penguins. Is that a Letang jersey after what he did last night?
No, it was another Penguins jersey where Letang had 6 points, 6 assists in the game last night, and I come to realize, and this is the thing when we see records being set, I just think we shouldn't put what Mario or Wayne has done. Because I saw what Letang did. I was calling that game at UBS Arena in Long Island last night, and getting the 5 assists in the second period, NHL record for defensemen, and then obviously the 6 assists. And then you see later, Mario's done that 4 times. He's had 6 assists 4 times. So it's like it's not even fair to compare to what those guys have done. But that's a Mario jersey back there to answer your question.
So what was it like? I mean, that 5 assists in one period. I mean, was it every shift he was just picking up apples? Everything he touched was gold. How was it? And how was he after the game?
Yeah, so he was what he was doing. It was beautiful plays. I mean, he was making beautiful plays. He was making great plays that didn't end up on the score sheet. Just his outlet plays, his passes. But it was just they were clicking. I mean, you could tell by the score 7-0. I mean, you could argue. It wasn't a great game, obviously, for the New York Islanders, but the Penguins were clicking, and they had everybody clicking and snapping the puck around. So a few of those assists, it's one of those games where, that guy, he assisted on that goal. It wasn't like not every assist was like, snap to the tape, back of the net. Like it was, advancing the puck up the zone and, touching it a couple, 2 touches before the goal. So, but he had a heck of a game, and man, I'll tell you what. You talk even the Ottawa game. I thought that was his best game of the season. The game right before the Christmas break in Ottawa, tough loss in overtime to the Sens, but you had Chris Letang had 3 points in that one, so he's got 9 points there in the last 2 games. But after the game, it was cool little story he shared. I talked to him in the morning and pregame skate, and I was just asking him, like, what'd you get the kids for Christmas? We're talking, and he's like, Alex, his oldest wanted a Trevor Zegras jersey. And so we got him a Trevor Zegras jersey. So I was giving him a hard time, like, well, hopefully he wants his dad's jersey. Now I'm sure he's got one already, but it was just kind of funny because Letang shared a story. I thought it was really cute because obviously with the travel, coming out of the break, you're traveling the day of, and his son Alex told him, I'm gonna watch the entire game tonight, Dad. And Tanger, I guess, was like, no, I'm coming back late. You got early hockey in the morning we got to get to. And he's like, you got to, the kid was kind of putting up a little bit of a battle. So I hope he didn't listen to Dad. I hope he stayed up because, man, his dad was incredible last night in that game.
Yeah, I mean, and if he stayed up really late, he would have seen a heck of a performance from those Anaheim Ducks. And Zegras putting up 4 goals in the first period against the Vegas Golden Knights. Just quickly here, because we've got some people asking. Jesse Puljujarvi, there was some reports of him skating in Pittsburgh, maybe signing a deal. Any news or any update on that?
That's been one of the most kept secrets. We were just talking about the other day in our crew there, where I'm like, what's going on with Puljujarvi? Like, we haven't really heard anything, right? What I have heard is that, what I do know is he has not been skating with the Penguins. So does that mean he's in Wilkes? Does that mean he's skating on the side? Like, I have no idea what is going on with Jesse Puljujarvi. And unfortunately, I think for the Penguins, there's been a lot of things being talked about that have taken the air out of the room. So that question, I don't think, has been asked enough. And hopefully now with a big game and a big win that they've had, maybe that's something we could find more details. I'll check back in next week on it, but I've heard literally nothing on that front.
Now, just, from what you've seen with his time with the Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes, do you think that it could work? I know that the hips, you got to have questions about that with the surgery that Jesse Puljujärvi had, but do you think it could work in Pittsburgh for him?
The whole thing is what's the situation health wise, right? I mean, what kind of limitations are we talking? Excuse me. I know he's always going to be looked at from where he was drafted and what he, I guess, wasn't. But what I saw in his development, and I'm sure there's some people that probably agree, and there's some that probably disagree that have watched him a lot in Edmonton. I thought that he started to play more physically. Like, I think he started to realize, like, I don't know if I'm going to be that type of player in the league. So he started, I felt like he started throwing his weight around. He started being a little bit more of a force on the forecheck. And if he's healthy enough to do that, that will help this Penguins team. This Penguins team does not have big bodies that throw their weight around. They got Radim Zahorna, who he's 27, 6'6". He'll do it once in a while, and I think he's still trying to figure out what it's going to take for him to stay in the league consistently. And it's going to be things like that, just throwing the weight, getting it on there on the forecheck. So if Jesse can do that on a consistent basis, there's a place for him in this lineup, and we'll have to wait and see if and hopefully when that happens.
Former NHLer Mike Rupp joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas sitting in today. Mike, when you look at this Edmonton Oilers team, and obviously the Christmas break maybe not at the best time, they're playing some good hockey, finding ways to win hockey games down the stretch there when they're out in New York, but it's going to be a little bit interesting tonight down in San Jose, a team that the Oilers should beat, but we said that last time. That would lead to our usual host, Jason Gregor, having to grow his hair out. Tonight, Magnus Krona, a guy who's only played in one game this year, and he got lit up against the Penguins. I believe that was in relief duty. What do you think the message is to the Oilers as they go into this game against a team that's lost 7 in a row, gives up a lot of goals, doesn't score a whole lot? How do you make sure this team is ready coming back from the Christmas break?
Well, I think that from what you said, there's been situations, and it doesn't stop with the Oilers. I mean, there's been teams that have gotten embarrassed by them this year, and San Jose, they're a team like, yeah, I get it. They're not very deep. They're not very skilled. They don't control many aspects of the game. But at the end of the day, like, if you're not ready, they can beat you. And we'll see sometimes, we've seen performances where you have a goaltender on there, making 55 saves, and you outplay them, and they've got 17 shots and they win the game. So I think you've seen enough here to be ready. I think the main message just basically has to be patient. Don't give them anything, right? Like, I think that's the hardest thing when you're playing against a team, even if you're like, all right, take these guys seriously. Teams that are not good for a reason, and they're unpredictable. Where they are on the ice is not usually where good teams are on the ice, and that goes for them and against them and can surprise you. Then you just start getting away from what you do, right? And you start sitting there thinking like, oh, we're going to have some opportunities to score here. And I just think in those games, a perfect example, last night's game, to go back, because I was obviously working that game in New York with the Islanders Penguins, and neither of those teams are San Jose level. But the first period is coming off the break. You never know what you're going to get. It was the most boring first period I've seen in hockey in quite some time. But it just kind of like, all right, well, we're not going to beat ourselves, right? The other team wasn't necessarily going to beat us. That's the same mindset here. Hey, make San Jose beat you outright, because that ain't going to probably happen. But if you're going to start trying to get loosey-goosey and think that you're going to be potting a couple extra ones and padding the stats, like, that's where it gets dangerous, and that's where that team can strike you.
Mike, you kind of talked about the first game back. I wanted to ask you, 15 years of pro hockey, that first game back after the Christmas break, how much did it change in that time span for you? I mean, was maybe at the beginning of your career where guys coming back maybe a little lethargic, let's say, from the time off, and compared to the last couple of years of your career, was it a little more business-like, ready to go? Did that change at all in the span of your career?
Well, I felt like the breaks were actually shorter early on in my career. We started kind of working in the extra day, right? So now you've got what's the protected days now are 24, 25, 26. And, that wasn't always the case. And so, Yeah, I think the bigger thing is just, I don't know. It was hard. And I know at the end of the day, you're talking about playing a professional sport and all these different things. But at the end of the day, we're creatures of habit. Like, we do what we do every single day. And that big thing that we always speak on, you hear people talk about, like, if you watch an NHL warm-up, literally the same thing happens over and over again. You have a steady cam there, tape, record 3 warm-ups and watch the players. It's the exact same things another day. And my point being is, when all of a sudden you're taken out of the mix and you're not skating every day and you're not in that mode, it takes a little bit to get going again. And it doesn't mean you're out of shape. It doesn't mean, but it's just, you're so finely tuned to do it only one way that it becomes tough. And even the eating habits, like, I just remember I go home and I'm like, hey, listen, it's Christmas. Like, I'm going to splurge a little bit there. I'm a big cookie guy. I used to go eat, you have all the aunts and uncles and grandparents making their Christmas cookies. And I'm wolfing them down. Like, this is my time, right? And I come back and I feel like I can't even stand up on my skates. You're tripping, you're falling. You're like, is it the cookies? Like, what's going on? Just everything's in disarray. So, it's a tough stretch. I think right now with those 3 days and you get that, it's a little more regimented. But I hated it. Some guys handled it great. I was not one of them.
Mike, just one last question for you here. The Vancouver Canucks, they've been a bit of a topic on this show, especially in our YouTube chat. Just, sitting in first in the Pacific, obviously they've had a couple games in hand of the Oilers and the Kings, so we'll see how long that lasts for. But from what you've seen from this season, do you think they can, maintain this and finish atop the Pacific, holding off the Oilers, the Kings, the Golden Knights?
Man, this is a tough one to unpack. For me, they are proving me wrong. I thought that they would have fallen off by now, and they have not. I don't think that put it this way, the way they've played up to this point, can they keep this up? I mean, sure, if you get all of those individual efforts and the great play individually by a lot of the players, it can keep up. I think that's a lot to ask. There's going to go through a stretch individually and collectively where things are going to taper off. Do they do enough in other areas of the game to stay afloat with some of those things trailing off? I don't know. We'll have to see. I have been impressed with the way they've spoken and handled on games that they've won, and they haven't been good enough in those games, and they've addressed that and publicly. And I think that that's huge. So I don't know what to make of them. I will tell you this, though. In my opinion, we were talking about this the other day with a few analysts at NHL Network, and I'm like, let me just ask you a question. If the playoffs started today, would you rather play the Vancouver Canucks or would you rather play the Edmonton Oilers? And without a Vancouver is the team that was picked. You know what I mean? So I think that the way some of the games have gone, you're getting points. That's great. I love where they're at. Way better than what we've seen of them in the recent years, and they're keeping it going a little bit longer. There's a lot of road left in this season. We'll see. But I think they're going to have to tweak and kind of tighten up some other areas of their game if they still want to finish in first place.
Excellent. And I'm with you. I thought they'd fall off a while ago, and they've just proved me wrong. Every game they go out there and pick up those 2 points. So, Mike, thanks so much for doing this. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, Happy New Year to everybody. I'm going to the Winter Classic, heading out there tomorrow, so we'll be able to talk a little Winter Classic hockey next week, so it'll be good.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Mike. There you go, Mike Rupp, former NHLer, NHL Network analyst, does some color work with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Letang, I don't want to bring up fantasy because we're getting called out for talking about it too much, but man, 6 points last night. Pretty good if you had them. That was our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company. Visit silentrides.ca for more information. Greg texting into the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. How did Gregor's sentence go from 6 months to 3 months? Well, we were feeling generous, kind, I suppose. Declan and I had the conversation and said, you know what, the Oilers, they got him into this mess. They lost to the San Jose Sharks, which they should not have done. Maybe we should offer up a way for the Oilers to get him out of this mess. And the way things were going, we said, if the Oilers win 5 games in a row, we'll deduct from 6 to 3. And the Oilers went on to do so. So that's how it happened. Was it a moment of weakness by Declan and I? Perhaps. Are we taking some flack for it? Yeah, for sure. But 3 months is a long time to go with the Friar Tuck, the Mr. Burns,
the
Leahy, whatever you want to call it. And it's quite evident. So he's going to do it for another 6-7 weeks, and it's going to go down. Greg says should go double or nothing on tonight's game.
That'd be awesome. I don't think Gregor will be on board. And you know what? You and Declan did show some mercy in serving up this compromise to Jason. You know who's not pleased about this order that you've worked out? Kevin Carius. He's repulsed that Gregor got out of this with only half of a sentence served. He's not pleased. He thinks he should still have to do it all, and he gave a little heat to you and Declan for giving him that offer.
Well, you know, I toy with the idea of myself. You know, did I make a mistake?
Keeps you up at night?
Sometimes. It could have been sick. He could have had like the Hulk Hogan. We had, I think it was Pancakes Penner text in, or it might have been on YouTube. It's like he should grow the beard and dye it and go Hollywood Gregor, like Hollywood Hogan, like embrace it. I thought, man, that would have been so hilarious. But moment of weakness, man. Hey,
you have too kind of a heart, Connor. That's your issue.
Without Gregor, is Sports 1440 a thing?
Fair.
Probably not. So you know what? We're gonna help him out this time.
We cut him some slack. we cut him some well-deserved slack.
Yeah. It wasn't the I'll quit my job if the Sharks lose or win. You know, it was the hair. So we're happy to see it grow out. He got the reduced number. I think it's February 11th. So it's okay.
Just in time for a great Valentine's Day date with his lovely wife.
Just in time for my birthday.
I doubt Gregor's wife would be seen out on a nice dinner date with him. Especially because right now you can notice it if you see him. I know he does a pretty good job of hiding it here on the stream, but like it is noticeable. Another couple months down the road here still. Whew.
Do you think many people who have that hairstyle and are like, it's not that bad, have heard or seen Gregor and now maybe have thought, I got to clean this up?
I got to do something about this. This is a tale as old as time, whether it is pop culture, the Seinfeld, the Curb Your Enthusiasm bits, elsewhere across the world of media. Like, just quit. Like, why are you hanging on? Just commit and shave the whole thing. Or if you're really that near and dear attached to your hair, get a piece, get plugs, something. Because that look, the cul-de-sac, the George Costanza, the Leahy, the Burns, whatever else you want to call it,
the Larry David,
it is terrible. It is the worst of all bad hairstyles to rock.
Greg, text in again. Text Gregor and see if he'll make the deal. LOL. Well, he'll be on the show in under an hour, so I will throw it out there to him, Greg. But I know his answer. He's going to say no. It's too risky. Even though I think the Oilers will get it done. We had a friend of the show, Dr. Gonzo, on YouTube's chat saying, shaving the top of my head if the Oilers lose to match Greg's. # solidarity. So maybe a few more of you should do that.
That's a teammate right there.
That 100%. I won't be doing that. But the Dr. Gonzo, we appreciate you. And you know, you're anonymous, so you don't even actually have to do it. But I do appreciate the gesture. We'll take a breaker on the Jason Gregor Show. My name's Connor Halley. He's Brandon Douglas. The B squad in today, giving Gregor a couple of days off. Still to come on this show. We're going to get to the ski report next. Man, when's it going to snow in Edmonton? We need it. Well, maybe we don't need it. Ski hills are doing okay, but it would make it a little bit easier. Also, 5 questions. We'll have Spec at 5. And like I said, Jason Gregor at 5:20 for In the Community, brought to you by United Cycle. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports 20.
That's a brick. We're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Mr. Rooter gets Shakespearean.
To plumb or not to plumb? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the clogs and leaks of outrageous toilets, or to take arms against a sea of faulty flapper valves, and by replacing, end them. To flow, perchance to stream. Aye, there's the plumb.
For a bard who's 5-starred, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Put on your party pants, pal. New Year's Eve lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. Tickets on sale now for a special New Year's Eve event extraordinaire. For $19.99, fill your belly at the pizza buffet and wet your whistle with $3.99 well highballs and domestic bottled beer. Let's pop the top with some bubbly and hit the dance floor to ring in the new year the right way. Tickets on sale now for lots of cheer and one hell of a Happy New Year's. Visit thecanadianbrewhouse.com for info.
Winter weather is hard on your vehicle. Help keep it in top shape with Pennzoil Ultra Motor Oil from Jiffy Lube. Oil changes on your schedule and 25 bonus air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Last Christmas, our granddaughters came to visit us from Australia. It was great to see those silly faces again. They're back in Oz now, but every Christmas we put a special light on the top of the No Bull building, one for Saxon and one for Golden.
We look in the northern sky every Christmas, Papa.
You have to look really hard to see it from down there, but if you try hard enough, you can do it. Right, Saxon?
Can't wait to come back and see you and Grandma again.
We can't wait either. The RV lifestyle is about exploring the great outdoors and spending time with family. And that's why we added a third light, just for you. And a couple more for those who are special to you. There's real magic up there if you believe hard enough. So have a brilliant Christmas and a fulfilling New Year. From our family to yours.
My name is Saxon and I approve this message.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.430, we're back here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley And Brandon Douglas alongside with you. This Thursday edition of the show, about 4 hours away from puck drop down in San Jose, the Oilers look to make it 3 straight and make that push back into playoff position. Still to come on this show, we will be joined by Jason Gregor at 5:20. At 5 o'clock, we'll have Mark Spector. We've also got 5 questions coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes. But right now, let's get right into it. It's the ski report. Let's delay it a little bit, Brandon. We don't have to jump into it right now.
This is the Sports 1440 Ski Report.
Your ski report for Thursday, December 28th, brought to you by Snow Valley Ski Club. Start your skiing journey at snowvalley.ca. A lack of fresh snow continues to hamper all resorts in Alberta and most of Western Canada as warm, dry weather persists. In Jasper, Marmot Basin has all lifts open except the new quad knob chair. 42 centimeter base out in Jasper. Down at Lake Louise, 131 runs open, all lifts operating at a 90 centimeter base. Over at Sunshine, 78 centimeter base, all lifts running, and Northway also with all lifts in operation and a 68 centimeter base. Nakiska, 51 runs open with their extensive snowmaking. Actually, some of the best coverage in the mountains right now. Further south, Castle Mountain, the whole mountain is open. Only advanced and expert skiing and riding is available due to what they call shark-infested waters, in layman's term, shallow snowpack, and lots of natural hazards still showing through. Into BC, no new snow at Fernie, Kimberley, Kicking Horse, and Panorama, but Revelstoke has had a couple centimeters overnight and 25 centimeters in the last week. So if you're willing to make the drive, you could find some soft conditions in Revy's higher elevation. Locally, all good in Edmonton ski areas, open and operating with extended holiday hours. That is your Snow Valley Ski Report.
Very well done, Brandon. You did that live, not even one little hiccup.
Well, not live. I do when I record it for the morning show. It is in one take. How's that for you?
I was trying to pump up your tires.
No need. Kevin, and the various co-hosts of the morning show do a good enough job of that when I do it over the course of the week. And I think there is a little bit of sarcasm in it because I like to say to Kevin when he's like, "Oh, great read, dude. Great read."
Yeah.
I always joke. I was like, "Well, Kevin, that is one thing that a skill I acquired at a pretty early age was to know how to read. And that's really all I have to do. We get that sent across to us from our friends at Snow Valley. So much appreciated. They always do a great job giving us the deets on what's happening. I'm sad, Connor, because I've been an avid skier most of my life. And now, like I always say, the state of my knees right now, currently on one torn ACL, already been rebuilt once. I don't think it's probably in my near future anytime again soon.
Well, you know what? Never say never. You could get back there one day. I mean, I've never been an avid skier or snowblader or
snowblading is the best. That's actually
snowboarding.
It's funny you say that because that is usually what I do when I'm in the mountains, or especially on some smaller hills like we'd have here in the city, or back home at Canyon outside of Red Deer. The snow blades, they're a menace. They're incredibly dangerous and terrible in good snow and deep powder, but bombing through the trees, maybe hitting the train park, speeding up and down some groomers, they're a ride of a time. Just snowboarding, tried it. Not my cup of tea. Too hard for me.
Shredding fresh pow.
Ripping the gnar.
The gnar, yeah.
Stoked. I'm always stoked to hit the slopes.
I like the idea of like going out to the mountains for a weekend and then just not skiing or snowboarding. Me personally, that's what I used to do. My buddies would go out, hit the slopes, come down. That'd be like a couple of beers in already. Hey guys, let's go out.
When we would take ski trips during my time at the U of A, both for the agriculture club and for my fraternity, there were guys and gals that would come and do the exact same thing. They didn't ski, or even if they did ski, they might come and go out the first day and then be like, you know what, I'm just going to hang out at the chalet, sit in the hot tub all day and absolutely crush beers, which was another quick flip back to this morning's version of the Kevin Carey show. One of my in or out questions for Kevin was the ski hill beer, whether it's on the chairlift, on the hill, in the lodge, in the hot tub, in the parking lot. It's like a top 5 beer is the ski hill beer. It's hard to compare because they're cold.
Yeah, of course.
And whether it be like the fact you're outside enjoying nature on the tailgate with maybe a little camp barbecue going or something. I like to sit on the hillside, like take a break halfway down the run, find a quiet spot, stash your poles in the snow, and just sit there and enjoy a cold one. Maybe a few pulls out of the flask. Nothing better. sunshine, and hopefully
nothing better. So that's your number one beer?
Well, maybe not one. For me, top 3 beer. I think airport beer is up there, but it has to depend on airport beers are good, but not when you're rushed. Like if you're there, be like, we're kind of pushing it. Okay, we can stop for one beer. I like, we're here and got through security quickly, and now we have like an hour and a half to kill, or maybe you're on a layover or something, and you got a lot of time to kill. Then airport beers are right at the top. Hotel beers, like if you're at a wedding, an out-of-town wedding, and you're at the hotel before you leave for the ceremony, you're maybe popping back in before the reception or something. Those are great beers. Shower beers, maybe more so in my younger days. I don't have any shower beers now. I can't remember last time I had a shower beer.
I always thought that was an overrated one.
Because it gets warm very quickly.
And then, you're going to stick your head, is it away from the shower head to have it? I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. I liked, parking lot beer. Like if you're going into to a sporting event.
Like a tailgate beer.
Tailgate, 100%. Going Labor Day weekend.
I haven't really done a lot of tailgate. Obviously not growing up in Edmonton, going to Elks games when I was younger. And even when I went to school here, post-secondary, Elks games not really on my my priority list. We loved going to U of A games, not really the football games, because when I went, the team was beyond terrible. They're great now, but to go to the Drake, but you don't need to pregame for that. The beers are $5 inside the Drake.
Yeah,
you show up and crush 100 of them, and watch the Bears win back-to-back natties, as they often did.
Tyler Millwood says being able to drink in a car legally is great. Limo or tour bus. That's Tyler Millwood. Steven says nothing beats after hockey beers.
That's a great one. Yeah, post beer league beers, or
in the room.
If you played junior B, I played a little bit of senior A hockey back in Delburn. The beers after those games, win or lose, because it's you love to win, especially if it is competitive, like junior, senior hockey, not just beer league. But win or lose, the beers taste the same, and they're great.
Montana to Rice texting in 1-833-401-1440. ODR beers are top tier. Yeah, I mean, I always just put any situation with the boys on my stag. It was fun to go out and everything. But there was one point we were just hanging out in one of the hotel rooms, just having a couple of beers, hanging out with the boys.
That's great.
Can't beat it. Hotel room beers, like you said. The quick stop off.
The ODR beers, once again, a great one because they're going to be cold. But actually, when I'm at the ODR, if you got a group of boys there, maybe got a little shinny going or something, I actually prefer maybe in a nice tumbler, like your Yeti or whatever you use, a nice whiskey. At the ODR, because that'll help warm you up on the inside as you're ripping up and down the sheet, keeping the legs going.
Cold, yeah. I mean,
little fire in your belly.
I don't see it, and because I'm not on the slopes, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said on social media I hadn't seen friends pull out the little fireball to toast you up.
The flask inside the coat, the beers are in the backpack, which I am a skier with a backpack because I'm always in charge of lugging around the beers. But then the flask in the jacket pocket, that is usually either schnapps or Fireball is the most common ones that I tout around with me.
I would say solid choices. Let us know into the Jiffy Lube inbox. What's the beer? What is the ranking of beers? If you know, you know. Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get to 5 questions. It is the Jason Gregor Show with Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas sitting in today, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel. Rod in the Valley.
Got some big ideas, but his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
With the rising costs of food, more Edmontonians than ever are struggling to provide a holiday meal for their families. When you donate to the Holiday Hamper Foundation, you help provide festive meals and gifts for 1,500 Edmonton families in need. Your contribution will purchase turkeys or fish for every family, the centerpiece of their holiday meal, and you'll receive a tax receipt for your generous donation. Please support the Holiday Hamper Foundation. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
Hey sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedoruk, and I'm excited to tell you Leading Edge is ready to make a difference in your amazing community. How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training. We invest in people who combine their caring, experience, and hands-on skills to work with you to help solve your problems. And we invest in community because we live here, and well, it's the right thing to do. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, now investing in Leduc, Alberta, because Leduc shouldn't hurt either. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-o-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously... The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. People are happy and children are grinning from ear to ear. Brent Ridge Ford hopes you enjoy the little things this festive season. Merry Christmas from Richard, Leslie, and the staff at Brent Ridge Ford in Wetaskiwin.
Get moving. Step away from the screen. Lace up those shoes and explore the outdoors. Whether it's a leisurely walk, a bike ride, or taking the stairs, every little bit counts. Healthy habits aren't made alone. Grab a friend and do it together.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
444, welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 in the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook streams. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can sign up today with code SPORTS50 and get a free $50 bet. Make sure to use your game sense. Coming to you live from the E-Well Studios here at West Edmonton Mall. It is a busy day. Lots of foot traffic today as the Boxing Day sales continue. So if you're going to come down here, I recommend coming early. Waiting till the later in the evening, it just gets more busy. So come down early, walk past the studio, say hello. Maybe we'll come out and say hi, but definitely come down here. Brandon, we were just kind of throwing it out there. What are the best beers? These things just come organically. It's nice to see it happen. Rod in the Valley says, after a day of dirt biking, a cold one hits as well. Campfire beers also. Yeah, gotta love camping, sitting out by the fire. Phil says, golf course beers. The only place you can legally drink and drive. No pun intended. I like the pun, but I don't think that's factual. I don't know. I'm not a cop. I'm not a law enforcement.
I do think you can get a DUI on a golf cart. I think. Maybe if it's only on public roads. But in theory, if it's a muni course, that's public land. So
well, you told me you can get a DUI on a horse.
I think so. I guess it wouldn't be a DUI, it'd be an RUI, riding under the influence.
Yeah. We could
CUI, cowboying under the influence.
Gotta be careful out there. Tyler says, wow, that joke went right over your guys' heads. Well, he said no pun intended. I'm thinking you're talking about drinking and driving. No pun intended.
Yeah, as in driving the golf ball.
Yeah, we get the pun, but there was no pun intended.
Yeah, no, you said no pun intended.
I did.
So it's like, no, Tyler said no pun intended. Which, if it was in fact crafted that way as a joke, then it was pun intended. Wasn't it? Wait, that message wasn't from Tyler.
No, it was from Phil.
Yeah, okay, well, Phil, the pun was intended, I think.
Oh, well, either way, don't do it.
Don't drink and drive.
Or you will get caught.
And stay in school, kids.
Absolutely. And
knowing's half the battle.
Finally, Mike says, boys, the best beer I ever had was the divorce just went through beer. Geez, that would be a stressful time. So I can imagine that would be a soothing beer.
Here, to wrap this up, Connor, I have 2 favorite beers. Number 1, free. Number 2, cold. How's that? Those are my top 2 on the list. After that, ski beer can come in at number 3.
ODR says, BB says ODR beer. That's another one for that. Tyler and Millwood says Oilers playoff beers. Well, and I don't know if it's like anytime you consume a beer, you could just say this, but like the Vegas walking down the street beer is always kind of nice. Yeah, just to do it openly.
Similar to the message about, I think that one was from Tyler about the illegally in the car, like the limo or tour bus. There's something about like walking down the middle of the street with a drink in your hand and knowing that you're not in trouble.
It's all good.
It's like you're kind of like the first time you do it. I've only been to Vegas once. It's kind of like you're almost like this can't be allowed, but it is, and it is a very, very pleasant surprise and makes your time on the strip much more enjoyable. Especially if it's on New Year's Eve, like mine was, where there are more people than I've ever seen in my life. Don't go to Vegas on New Year's Eve. That's my hot tip for the day.
Yeah, if you don't like crowds, you definitely don't want to do that. Okay, let's get to 5 questions right now. Brought to you by The Brick. Canada's best Boxing Day sale is back at The Brick. Save up to $1,000 on big screen TVs and up to 50% off mattresses. That's The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Connor Halley, we got a fresh batch of 5 questions for you, starting with tonight's Oilers and Sharks games. Keeping it simple for Sharks game, keeping it simple for you. Let's get ourselves a prediction for tonight's Oilers v Sharks.
I like the simplicity of this one. Hey, and you're on camera now too. Is this your first time on the camera today?
No, and I filled in for you back in when you were sick once. I think it was in September, pretty early actually. When Declan was the one controlling the cameras, he flipped me on a couple times. I've got a few things going on back here on a regular breaks basis. So when I'm hopping on the mic for just a quick here or there, I don't bother changing it around to get myself on. And I'm doing everyone else a favor by not being on camera most of the time.
Well, everyone on YouTube, say hello to Brandon as he jumps on today. Dr. Gonzo says Skyreach beers as well. We check in on the YouTube people.
The best Skyreach.
Going way back.
Rexall beers.
Favorite, prediction for tonight. Okay. I'm going to say the Edmonton Oilers come out and play pretty well. I think they got the young goaltender in between the pipes in young Magnus Krona. I think it's going to be a lot. I think the Oilers really get after him. I'm going to say they win 5-1.
You took my answer. I'll say they get up early and then maybe kind of coast the rest of the game. I will say a 4-1, the final from, is it still called the SAP Center?
Sure.
HP Center? No, that's the old name. SAP Center, maybe. The Shark Tank.
The Shark Tank.
Either way.
You call it the Shark Tank, everyone's going to know.
Then everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. Question number 2, Mr. Halley. 2023 quickly drawing to a close. By next week, we'll be in the new calendar year. What letter grade would you give the Oilers 2023 calendar year?
Okay. Yeah, it is the SAP Center.
There
or
we go.
SAP. You know what? I mean, you got to think going back to last year, they did play well down the stretch. It was really good, but the mission didn't get accomplished. They won a playoff round, but not 2. Didn't improve upon the year before. And this year, it's been overwhelmingly disappointing. So I'm going to give them a. Would I be a good teacher or a mean teacher? Let's be nice. B-. I think they did okay. They did it like exceptionally, like they did what they were supposed to do, but they didn't go above and beyond. So I'll say B-.
Their second half of last season was obviously very strong.
Yes.
And we can't ignore that fact. And yes, like you said, they didn't accomplish the goals they set out for in the playoffs. And then maybe as a result, set themselves or set their new goals as maybe a little too lofty. Every team is going to tell you at the start of each season their goal is to win the Stanley Cup. Even the San Jose Sharks, when talking to the media, would tell you that come this season. So, what'd you say? B-?
B-.
I will say a C+.
That's what I was waffling between.
The start to this season was so bad.
It was. It really was. I mean, they're not failures, but they, if they were in Vancouver's spot, I'd jump them up to an A- or something. But no, not quite.
Or the community. There's a bit from the TV show Community, the bit that pluses are made up. It's basically a teacher will only give you a plus or a minus whether they like you or not.
Could be.
Depends, I guess, if you're graded on the curve.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, question number 3. Canada 2-0 at the World Juniors so far, including a drubbing of Latvia yesterday. How much stock do you put into the Canadians team start at the World Juniors?
For me, it's not too much. I mean, this is kind of what they were supposed to do. And I know we talked about how this wasn't a team, maybe with the name recognition that we've seen in the past, but until it gets serious in these games, or you're taking on other powerhouses in the league or in the event, the Finlands, the Swedens, US, those types of teams, I'm really unsure how to look at it. So a little bit, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Certainly not going to be mad about what they've been able to do, but I can't give them too much love to begin with.
I had more stock in the Finland win before Finland lost to Germany yesterday. And all of a sudden the Finns maybe aren't, they were never necessarily the front runner. I think that still belongs to the States and even Sweden to an extent. So I'll give them credit for the wins. You got it. You still have to win the games. We saw Canada kind of get off to a bit of a sloppy start last winter at the tournament before going on to win gold. So the fact they start the way they're actually supposed to with a couple wins over teams they are better than. We'll wait and see how things play out. But I'll give them credit. Not stock, but credit. How's that?
Yeah. And I mean, the first couple games, it's hard to tell too, right? Like you're getting into it, but they get a little credit.
Question number 4. It's been one of the main topics of conversation across all programs on the station today. The news of Russell Wilson not starting the rest of the season and likely to be cut this spring from the Denver Broncos. Where do you see Russ Wilson playing next season?
Well, unlikely in Denver. I think everybody probably knows that one. I don't know how this season wraps up for the Atlanta Falcons, but I think they've got to try to find someone. So I don't know if they're going to take a quarterback. I don't think Heineke's the guy. Don't think Desmond Ritter's the guy. I'm going to say Atlanta because I think there's going to be other teams that will draft higher and get their quarterbacks of the future. And I mean, if you're a free agent quarterback, why would you not want to go to Atlanta? Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. Like the weapons are there for sure. I think he could be a guy who signs a 1 or 2 year deal and, in a division where you can win games. You got the Bucks, the Saints, the Panthers. It's a winnable division for the Falcons, I think. So I'm going to say Atlanta.
I don't know if I actually believe this, but I'm going to say it for the fun of it. I think he goes back in his next season starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Bring Russ home. That would be funny.
That would be worth a good laugh, I think, after all the flack that he took for asking his way out of town originally. But final question for you, Connor. Denzel Washington, the legendary actor, celebrating his 69th birthday. Nice today. What is your favorite movie of Denzel's?
Well, I want to say, in case I missed some, let us know. 1-833-401-1440, because I love Denzel. I mean, there's so many good ones. And some that I've just kind of stumbled into, like with our movie watch, The Equalizer was one I hadn't seen yet. But man, he's a badass in that movie. But I can't go away from it. Remember the Titans. I just from the first time I saw it, I loved it. I still watch it a couple times a year. He's great in it. The storyline's fun. Music's amazing. So I go Remember the Titans.
Once again, you stole my answer just like you did for the first question of this segment. So I will go more in the direction of your first answer, but I'll say Man on Fire.
Oh, okay.
That movie, no pun intended. That movie fires me up. It's great story. But how can you not love Remember the Titans? That's That's all time.
Yeah, just a good one. And then, I mean, it's not Denzel, but I mean, his son. Have you seen his son's work in Ballers?
No.
No? His son is actually quite the talent. I believe played in the NFL for some like training camps. I don't know if he actually got into any regular season games, but his son is pretty talented. He was in Black Klansman as well.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I've got a lot, much like you, accumulated over the years with Gregor and Struddy, talking about all these movies you haven't seen. A similar list is now growing for me with Kevin in the morning, because still yet to see The Replacements, despite many people's urgent messages saying I need to do so. And there's a couple others on there too. So one of these, maybe that's a good summertime thing, you know, when I don't have 8 different games to watch every night because I'm a sportsaholic.
Yeah, well, be careful, because you will get absolutely abused on the text line for the movies you haven't seen. I mean, I put a good dent into my list. I watched a movie every week for the entire year and got a bunch of them out of the way. But yeah, there's still a whole lot I need to see. John David Washington was his name. Played for the Rams for a couple of years. Then the Rain Fire of the NFL Europe. And then with the Sacramento Mountain Lions of the... I don't even know.
Football.
It's an American football team based in Sacramento. Played there for 3 years, actually.
Was that the AFL or the AAF?
United Football League.
Oh.
So not quite as good, but very interesting. No, let us know. Oh, training day. Training day. Yeah, that was a good one from Gordon D. Eric. He's got a long one here. We'll have to read that maybe in the next break. But yeah, training day was fantastic. King Kong ain't got... I can't say
nothing on me.
American Gangster as well.
There's a lot. He's great. I don't know many people that don't care for Denzel Washington.
And Jasmine just texting in, FYI, Amari Cooper inactive.
Well, excuse me while I drive over to the high-level bridge and throw myself off of it, because that's not good news for me. Injuries have left me pretty thin at the wide receiver position.
Well, hit that waiver wire. Who's out there?
Elijah Mitchell, probably. Or not Elijah Mitchell, Elijah Moore. Pardon me. Donovan Peoples-Jones is in Detroit now. He gets like 1 reception a week. I don't know.
Mike D says, man on fire, Brandon, the scene when the tape guy hands to the steering wheel. When he tapes the hands guys to the steering wheel. Good
it's
scene
awesome.
from Mike D. Of course, we're on YouTube. If you want to go check us out, it's the Oilers Nation YouTube channel. Also on Facebook. You're on the radio. You can stream us on iHeartRadio, Radio Player Canada, our website, tune in, wherever it might be. Check out our podcast as well, wherever you get them from. We'll head to break, but when we come back, we're going to get you ready for tonight's action with Mark Spector of Rogers Sports, and of course, covers the Oilers. We'll also be joined by Jason Gregor around 5:20 on the appropriately titled Jason Gregor Show. Somebody is skateboarding in the mall. It's getting crazy out here. We'll take a break. Like I said, when we come back, Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. Before we go to break, though, let's get to an update brought to you by Booster Juice. Visit a location today to refuel, refresh, and re-energize, or download their new Booster Rewards app to earn, order, and enjoy. Here is Brandon Douglas.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers game day as Edmonton is back in action following the Christmas break, taking on the San Jose Sharks tonight from Northern California. Magnus Krona getting a start for San Jose, while Stuart Skinner will go for the Oil. Puck drop scheduled for 8:30 Mountain Time. 3 other games in the NHL. Carolina hosting Montreal, that one getting going here shortly, just after 5 o'clock. Then later tonight, Philly in Vancouver, and the Kings in Vegas to play the Golden Knights. World Junior action today. USA beat Switzerland 11-3, and Germany lost to Sweden 5-0. From the Spangler Cup, Team Canada, they lost to HC Davos 4-3, now sit at 1-1 in the tournament. Thursday Night Football, final one of the season, going tonight to kick off Week 17 in the NFL. Cleveland hosting the New York Jets. Browns winners of 3 straight and tout a 10-5 record on the season. 8 games from the hardwood. 5:30 start time. We'll see the Detroit Pistons try and get off the schneid and avoid their 28th straight loss when they play the Celtics. Then later on, the Jazz play the Pelicans, Mavericks versus the Timberwolves, and Miami takes on Golden State. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Carey Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector, as well as host of the Jason Gregor Show, Jason Gregor. I'm Brandon Douglas. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free Radio Player app and listen wherever you go.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round. And you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strnd.ca.
With sport and group events returning, are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice?
Then choose eWell.
Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit eWell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Now, if I lift this up and then hit it right here.
No, it's hit then lift. What are you guys doing?
We can't get this thing to work.
For guaranteed same-day service, call Franco Sorgiovanni at Corporate Business Solutions before someone makes it even worse. Most issues can be resolved within 20 minutes or less. Corporate Business Solutions is an authorized Konica Minolta office equipment dealer for sales and service. Call CBS today at 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop a Trane. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, it is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Stay in the game this season with Play Alberta. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense. Coming to you live from the eWell studio here in West Edmonton Mall. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas with you here today. Gregor off for the next couple of days, but he is going to join us in about 20 minutes time to get you ready for the Oilers and Sharks game, as those two teams will meet just after 8:30 tonight down in San Jose. And we'll discuss that with our next guest. It is time for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They are always looking for good people. Go to Indeed.com today and send them your resume if you want to work for a great company with a wonderful culture and good benefits. Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joining us here today. Spec, good evening. How are you doing today?
Spec is not yet with us.
Oh, that was such a good intro.
He was, and then he momentarily dipped out and has not yet returned.
Felt like I really nailed that one.
You were smooth with it, Connor. You're getting better at reading every day.
And steadily improving upon reading, which, is the goal here. And we'll keep on working towards that. Well, we'll just jump back into it. The Edmonton Oilers in action tonight, taking on the San Jose Sharks. And it's certainly going to be an interesting game. We all know what happened the last time these two teams met. The Oilers did not look good. Some might say they were goalied. Tonight, it's Magnus Krona, who I believe making the first start. He's appeared in one game. He's got a goals against average of 7.87, a save percentage of 7.65. Obviously, the San Jose Sharks in that game losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins 10-2. It just wasn't a good game for the Sharks, and there have been a lot of those. But Magnus Krona just getting kind of thrown into the fire tonight when the Edmonton Oilers roll into the SAP Center, the SAP Center. And we'll see how that goes for the Edmonton Oilers. The lines, I believe, looking pretty similar. The one line I am definitely looking forward to seeing is that second line. Like, obviously, McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman are going to be good. That's what they are. They'll probably have some success. But Leon Draisaitl, I think a guy who's trying to find his game, consistently on a night-to-night basis this year. We've seen the highs, we've seen some lows, we've seen some frustration. But I do like that line of McLeod and Fogle along with number 29. So that's going to be something to watch out for once puck drop goes down in San Jose. You've also got the third line of Kane, Derek Ryan, and Matthias Janmark, Adam Ernie, Hamblin, Brown on your fourth line. Connor Brown, probably another guy who's just hoping to get going here. Sam Gagner did not make the trip to California, but Dylan Holloway did. So Dylan Holloway, we're not expecting him to play, but obviously getting closer, and they want him there for these skates with the team and be around the group once again. On the blue line, you've got Nurse and Ceci, Ekholm Bouchard, and Kulak and Desharnais, Gleason there as well. Skinner and Picard, we'll see exactly how it all shakes out. Those were the lines of practice yesterday from Tony Brar. I would expect those to continue on here as it all gets going tonight down in San Jose. Brandon, I mean, the Oilers, it's a trip where I think you have to go at least 2-1. You have to find a way to beat the Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks. The Kings will be a bit of a tough battle there. This used to be a road trip, which it was just hell. It was like these three LA teams are going to beat you down because they're just such a big physical group. A little bit easier now, but the LA Kings, as of late, have certainly kind of hit their stride, which shouldn't be a surprise. The Oilers have met them the last 2 years in the playoffs and seen what they can do. Now they're the developed. They are looking more of the part that we kind of expect them to be.
Yeah, like you said, this used to be the gauntlet through the westernmost state, sans Hawaii, of course. But yeah, no, the Ducks are a team that went on a huge losing streak. The Sharks, we know where they sit in the standings, right at the bottom. And yes, the Kings are a team challenging for the Pacific Division title. But I do think they can get all three games here. The fact they have the Kings on the first half of that back-to-back on Saturday will be a huge benefit for them. They'll be a little bit fresher for that one before rolling into what should be an easier game in Anaheim the following night for New Year's Eve. So I like their chances here of going 3-0. They'll be back at home in the new year for a couple. And as we talked about earlier in the show, the Kings are just one of two teams currently in a playoff spot they have over the next 8 games. So if they can, rattle off a quick 7-1 hit here, dropping one game, whether it be to the Kings, Flyers, or one of these non-playoff teams, will picking up wins against the other two. I think that'll serve them very, very well as they continue to. They dug themselves a big hole. It's a slow climb back up the playoff standings because that's a lot of teams to have to jump over. They're still playing every night, whether it be against each other or elsewhere.
100%. I mean, the motivation's always going to be there throughout the entirety here. Mark the Keeper texting into 1-833-401-1440. It is the Jiffy Lube inbox. A great day to book your oil change at jiffylubeservice.ca. We're talking about where's the best beer? When's the tastiest beer? And he says, Mark the Keeper, beer on the dock, Connor. Better than the boat beer because it's safer. Amen. Too many weekend warriors at the old Wobbleman. That's from Mark the Medsley Keeper. P.S. Wearing my 1440 hat with pride. Hey, me too. I went for the blue one today. Thinking tomorrow I might have to go with the white one. I bust that out on special occasions just because, it does get dirty quite easy. So, keep it in the studio, only wear the white one. When my hands are clean and it's not too much of a mess. But I think we got Mark Spector going to join us in just a second here via the phone as Brandon Douglas just puts it down. I'll get the thumbs up that we've got Spec on the line. Let's bring him in. Spec, happy holidays. How are you doing?
Hey, awesome, Connor. What's going on?
Not
the big show today. What's happening here? What's Gregor doing? Heat up or what?
He's helping the youth. He's coaching hockey. So we decided to give him the next couple of days off here. We are making him work a little bit. He does have to come on for a hit. That'll be in like 10, 15 minutes or so. But he's helping the youth, growing the next generation of fine young hockey players.
God help those young men. I've seen them play hockey.
I've seen him and Struddy work on some drills. So I'm not too sure how it's going to work out for them, but we'll find out. We're going to get a breakdown of how the game went for Beckett and his team earlier today. But Mark, let's talk about the Oilers. Magnus Krona, what can you tell me about him?
Yeah, not a darn thing. He gets the start, hey? So this is his first, I believe, right? This has got to be his first start.
Yeah, he appeared in one game against the Penguins, a relief duty. They lost 10-2. Save percentage right now, 7.65 with a goals against average of 7.74. What's the message here if you're a noblock talking to the team here coming back first game after the break?
Well, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't, they call these games trap games, and I think that's stupid. I never liked the trap game thing. All that tells me is my team thinks they're so good that they don't even have to try to beat the other team. And if I've got a team that thinks that way, I got big problems, okay? I hear that about Toronto often. Oh, they lose to Ottawa because it's a trap. That's garbage. So forget the trap game. They were coming out of Christmas. Oilers have dug themselves a hole. They got to win lots of games, but they surely cannot lose games against the team with the worst goal differential in the National Hockey League at -68. One of the very, bottom-feeding teams who just happens to be starting a guy who's never started an NHL game. So, this is where the Oilers just have to forget about who they're playing, frankly, and go out and be the Oilers and play like the Oilers and say, if we play the game that we can play, the Sharks aren't going to be able to touch us, and I think that's fair. We've seen stranger things happen, but I guess my point is, Connor, get your head out of your rear end and don't think that the other team's not trying and you're so good that it's easy. I don't think the Oilers are that team, but if they are that team, that's where it bites you.
When you go back in all your years covering the NHL, Spec, and the Oilers in particular, is there a trend that you've noticed when it comes to these games following the little Christmas break that they have? Does it take a little bit more to get into it? Because the San Jose Sharks did play that game last night against the Kings. So, fatigue, who knows? Maybe it's a factor. But do you think the Oilers need a little bit more oomph to get them into the game, get them going started early?
Well, there's two things. There's a couple things that we know for sure about these games. And that is, you never know what you're going to get. The coaches are like, they've got their fingers crossed in that first game back. You never know what you're going to get. That's just a fact of life. The thing is, you prefer to be on the road. The team that is at home is likely still caught up. They've got family still in town. Mom and dad are coming. They were arranging tickets. They're still in Christmas mode. So the team that's playing its first game after the break at home is in the worst position. The team like Edmonton that got out on the road, they had a practice in San Jose, they're probably more game ready. San Jose has a game, so that is an advantage for sure. They got a game under their belt. They're already back into the season. So I have a feeling that tonight I don't think you'll see a lot of Christmas lag from either team. I think you'll see an Oilers team that's ready for business here. They've had the practice yesterday in San Jose. They're ready to go. And San Jose played a game last night. They're not a very good team, but they're going to play as well as they can play because their Christmas break's been over for a couple days.
Spec, looking at the second line tonight, I'm very intrigued by it. Top line, of course, McDavid, Hyman, and Nuge. You probably know what you're going to get from them, but Foegele, McLeod, around Leon Draisaitl here. What do you make of that second line for the Oilers tonight?
Well, what I'm seeing under Knobloch, and I can't complain about this because I've been harping on this team for being top heavy for a long time, and what I'm seeing is he's spreading guys around. Kane doesn't sound like he likes being on the third line, but you got a lot better third line if Evander Kane's on it, right? Mm-hmm. Leon Draisaitl may or may not like playing with Warren, Foegele, and McLeod, but I'll tell you what, if he can carry that line and you can spread some guys through your top three lines, you're a deeper and better team. So we've gone from an Oilers team that would play McDavid and Draisaitl together and then have a whole bunch of other guys, and it was a one-line team. Now they got McDavid and Draisaitl apart, and now they're even spreading the love down to the third line and, eventually the fourth line. So I think this is good. I think the egos in the team, I think this has to be you can't complain if you're on the third line. You can't complain if you don't like your wingers. This is about building a deeper team that can win, that can take on a Vegas. So I personally think it's great. I'm not sure what the guys in the dressing room think about it. I guess we'll find out over time. What do you think?
I mean, like you said, Evander Kane may not like it, but if it's going to help the team and make them more of a contender down the stretch here where you can just roll your lines and get production out of the third line and bumps everyone down there, then I'm all for it. I think they got to put the egos aside and do what's best. And I think at some point, Evander Kane's going to find himself back in that top six. But for the time being, if this is what's rolling, you just got to put your head down and work. And I hope that's what we see. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas sliding in today. Spec, if you were Ken Holland, what's the timeline like over the next couple months here? We've heard people, the fan base, the vocal fan base, I should say, talking about the positions you might need to add. If you're Ken Holland right now, are you scouring the market? Are you on the phone trying to look to see what you can do, potentially adding whatever it might be, depth in the bottom six, the top six, between the pipes, anything like that?
Yeah, I think, this is coming out of Christmas now is a sort of the next phase of the season, right? It's a new, we're Christmas is over. We're getting in the second phase. What's the trade deadline this year? Is it March 3? I forget the date of the stupid trade deadline. Anyway,
look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It's the trade deadline's in sight. It's not right around the corner, but it's in sight. I think for me, the steps are like this. Holland's got to figure out what he has to acquire before he figures out what he wants, what he could acquire. And when I say that, I'm saying to you, is he going to need a backup goalie? Like if he, I have a feeling he's going to need another goalie, and that will become his most important acquisition. So now he's only got enough assets and cap space to probably get two things done here. He can't scratch 3 or 4 itches here at the deadline. He doesn't have enough assets. So, he would love not to have to get a second goalie. Then he could spend the assets elsewhere. But I'm looking at a team going into a really busy time in the schedule. Not right now, but in about a month, it starts to get mega busy, and the backup's going to have to play. And if the backup is Calvin Pickard, can you win those games? I don't know. Does Olivier Rodrigue get a call up? Let's find out if he can win some of those games. Maybe. So Holland's got to figure out what he needs before he starts going out and getting things. And I think it's all around the goalie right now. If you got to get a goalie, that all of a sudden jumps to the front of the line, doesn't it?
I would think so, yes. And can confirm Friday, March 8th is the NHL's trade deadline. So, Spec, thanks so much for doing this today. We'll let you go, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Connor, have a great show.
You as well. No, that was the wrong thing to say. I was going to say, I was going to be like, you have a good night. And I was going to say you as well. But dang, Spec got me with have a great show. Well, we're trying. It was a great show until that. We'll take a break here. That was the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Check them out, GS Construction. Great culture, great benefits. Check them out at Indeed.com. They are now hiring. When we come back, we will talk to Jason Gregor. He is the typical host of this program here on Sports 1440. We'll get his thoughts on all sorts of things. The World Juniors, the Oilers in San Jose tonight, puck drop 8:30, maybe the Spangler, the NFL, and we'll see how he did today as he coached in the community. I'm Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas alongside with me. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
How do you take your New Year's Eve?
I like it on the rocks.
Get ready for the ultimate New Year's Eve party at On the Rocks, Edmonton's premier live music and party venue.
Sunday, December 31st.
For $55, enjoy dinner first, or $25 for just the party vibe, featuring DJ Kenny King and the Barkells.
Get your New Year's Eve tickets to OTR ASAP.
Visit OnTheRocksEdmonton.com or grab tickets in person.
New Year's Eve on the Rocks.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
There's two seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
Your old furnace can die in the blink of an eye, so why take that chance this winter? Eric Mikowski here, head of the family at Furnace Family. The time for a new furnace is now. Not only will you have peace of mind on those cold winter nights, you will save money on those super expensive gas bills. Unsure? Furnace Family can come check your furnace, and if you buy a new one from us, the check is free. Daikin has an industry-leading lifetime warranty on their heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. Visit furnacefamily.com. Jingle time.
Done right, day or night, furnacefamily.com.
Denham Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denham Ford for the past 65 years. Denham Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denham Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denhamford.ca.
Cars cost less than Wetaskiwin.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.523, welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook channels. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you. Sitting in the show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Lots going on tonight. Get some same-game parlays with the Thursday night football. Maybe a little Oilers action, over-under on points. Maybe goal scorer, Connor Brown. Remember, use your game sense when you do so at PlayAlberta.ca. The text line 1-833-401-1440 if you've got any questions for our next guest. And he is Jason Gregor. This brought to you by United Sport and Cycle. It is their Boxing Week sale, 10 to 60% off store-wide. Check them out, unitedsport.ca. Jason Gregor, the usual host of this show, joins us. Jason, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, Cons. How are things?
Things are good. Things are good. We are in the community, so I have to ask you, how'd the coaching go today?
Oh, it's a lot of fun at U11. We scored a lot of goals today. Probably gave up too many that we didn't like in the first game. But U11 can be up and down. So we lost a barn burner 8-7 in our morning game, but then had a big 10-2 win in our second game. So it was a fun day overall. Yeah, kids are excited, so it's good.
Good coaching, good adjustment. Sounds like. I know Speck was taking some shots at you, but sounds like good coaching.
Dude, worrying about Spector's analysis. Trust me, that's the least of my concerns. I mean, Spec still probably thinks off the glass and out is a good defensive strategy. So I'm not too worried. Our kids, getting your kids to pass consecutively in U11, it's like, oh my God, it's euphoric when it happens as a coach. And so today it happened on a few goals, and so that's to me, it's any coach will tell you probably that I don't really care too much about the wins or losses, to be honest. It's more so about improvement. And when you see kids figuring out that passing is fun, that's a big win for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. My years of coaching, whenever you'd see something you worked on in practice translate into a game, is always rewarding. So that's good to hear. Gregor, for the Edmonton Oilers tonight, going to be an interesting one. And we've had some people actually text in asking if you might want to go double or nothing with the Oilers Sharks rematch. I know your response, so we don't even have to entertain it. But Magnus Kronig getting his first start, appeared in one game this year against the Penguins. It didn't go very well for the Edmonton Oilers. Does that change anything going up against a guy who's got very little NHL experience?
Not really. By the way, for the record, I would take that bet all day. I think the Oilers are going to win tonight for sure. Are you kidding me? But I would love it if you guys want to offer it up. Kidding me? I'd take it all day. Look at my hair; it looks awful right now. Absolutely starting to grow out in the peaks. The problem is I've had too many people tell me that it's you'd get out too early and they want to see the horror show that is February 9th. So, I get it, but I think this is a game the Oilers, I know people say, oh yeah, can anything happen? Of course, anything can happen. But I expect the Edmonton Oilers, based on how they're playing right now, they're playing way better than they were when they lost back on November 9th to the San Jose Sharks. And the Sharks do work hard. It's not an easy game per se, but the Oilers have more skill and their skill is playing better. And I expect them to come out of the break like they did going into the break. And, like I've said it all along, the Oilers, you look at their next 14 games, they've got a lot of very winnable games. They only have this back-to-back coming up, LA and Anaheim, right? So they'll get a really good test on Saturday. And as long as they don't look past San Jose, then I fully expect them to control the game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, in San Jose, obviously losers of 7 straight. They can't seem to put the puck in the back of the net, and they can't defend very well. Not a great combination. When you look at the Oilers' lines, the top unit, maybe not a big surprise. Hyman, Nugent, McDavid obviously going to play pretty well, we would assume. But what do you make of the second line? Leon Draisaitl with some speed and McLeod and Fogle.
Well, they played together before the break, right, against the New Jersey Devils. So I understand it. I don't think it's a long-term answer, right? Evander Kane, and I know some people have looked at his goal for against, and I'm like, why don't you take time and go a little bit deeper and tell me how many of those goals against are because Evander Kane's making terrible defensive decisions? That's all I ask, just because I can tell you he's involved 100% in the goals he scored. That's a fact. Being on the ice for goals against doesn't mean you're the one making the bad plays. When you're on the ice and you score, you're involved in the play. So people who want to suddenly get rid of Evander Kane, I'm a little head scratching on a team that's not very physical. And you're going to get rid of your second leading goal scorer who leads your team in hits, who's top 3 in the league in hits. Pardon? I'm sorry. It's an idiotic argument. So maybe dig deeper. Goal for percentage is not the only stat that matters.
Gregor, you were one of the first to have the news on Dylan Holloway when he suffered that knee injury, and you had said probably into the new year. Now he's going to make this trip down to California, not going to play. Any update on when we might be able to see Dylan Holloway get back into the lineup?
Well, as I said, he's got to have multiple practices first. I think we could see him on the 6th against Ottawa, right? Because remember, they play Tuesday, but then it's an extra 3 days off again, right? And so do you play him when you can get another, 72 hours of rest? Logically, the Oilers, look at back to the start of the season. Ekholm could have played on opening night, but they didn't because they didn't play again until Saturday, right? Edmonton doesn't need Dylan Holloway to, and it's not that they're rushing him back by any stretch. They've been very cautious about this, but, practicing for a day or two doesn't mean you're ready to play. And, I said all along that Dylan Holloway wasn't playing until January. And so, that's the case. And I'd be surprised. I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I'd be surprised if he plays on Tuesday. And I'm not saying it's a lock that he would play on the 6th. I just think, that's a better realistic timeline for him.
Jason Gregor, of course, the host of this program, joining us. Also get his work at Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. Gregor, how about at the World Juniors right now? Canada 2-0 to start. Maybe not surprising based off the level of competition or the matchups that we've seen so far. But what have you thought of Canada so far at the World Juniors?
Yeah, the Finland game, you know what? Finns are always a pesky team at the World Juniors, so I thought that was a pretty solid effort for them. And then, they dominated the second game, which I don't think anybody was surprised by. We have seen upsets, though, at the World Juniors the last few years, so you got to take care of business. And, usually I always find the World Juniors, I know it starts on Boxing Day, but for me, the tournament really gets going on New Year's Eve, because that's, now you're the end of the round robin. Usually it's a marquee matchup of top teams playing each other. And so I kind of, after the weekend, I think we'll have a better sense. But, going in, U.S. is favored. They look very good. Canada's a good team. They're always going to be good. And the Swedes are good. So there really hasn't been any major shocks just yet.
Yeah, Canada-Sweden meeting tomorrow should be a fun one for sure. Now, Gregor, do you follow the Spangler Cup at all? Are you into that one?
No, not really. Like, I know there's been lots of different players there, but I don't watch it a ton. You can't watch everything. And I have nothing. I'm not a guy who's like anti-Spangler Cup. I just, the holiday season for me, I'm mixing a little World Juniors because my son likes to watch it, but I don't have a lot of time to watch the Spangler, unfortunately. And I know it's got a long history, right? There's been lots of former NHLers that play there and guys who, it's always a thrill to play for your country. And I know I've talked to Struds and many others who have played at the Spangler, and it's a really good tournament. But I'll watch the final, but I don't really watch much more.
Yeah, I think in person, it'd be very cool to go see and check out. But yeah, tough to watch it. How about the Thursday nighter tonight, Jets and Browns? Maybe not the most exciting game, but the Browns just keep finding ways to win football games. Joe Flacco's played some pretty good ball. Are you tuning into this one before the Oilers game?
Well, Amari Cooper's out. What the hell is the reason to watch for? Like that was if anybody had him in their fantasy playoffs last week, they'd be doing cartwheels. What a week for him. And so I don't know. Like, hey, I give Joe Flacco and the Browns. The one thing about the Browns, they pass the ball a ton, right? They throw it up there, but without Amari Cooper, I'm curious, who's going to come down with the ball tonight. The one thing the Jets are pretty good at is their pass defense is pretty solid. So Sauce Gardner's pretty good defensive back. So I don't know if I'll watch that much of it, to be honest. I'll probably dabble. There's no one I'm in the final in my fantasy football league, but the guy I'm playing, neither one of us have anybody playing tonight. So if they did, I'd probably watch it a little closer.
So who are you watching this weekend then? Who's a make or break for you?
Well, I got Trevor Lawrence, number one. Like Joe Burrow's might stay. He's out. Now Trevor Lawrence, I'm not sure he's going to play. So that's going to, I'm going to have to decide who I'm going to play as a quarterback. Like Minshew. I might have to go with Bryce Young, for goodness sakes, because there's no real good quarterbacks to pick up. So that's brutal. Pacheco's also out. So it's not a good time for me in the final, Cons. But, obviously I'll need Seattle to be good. T. Higgins is going to have another big week. Mike Evans for me, but it's probably going to come down to quarterback play. And, it's not great that the Trevor Lawrence, like, that should be a very good matchup for him. Like, I hope he can play because Carolina's terrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could be point week for him for sure if he's healthy. I saw that shot of him. His face, it didn't even look like him. Like, he just got absolutely hammered. He's had some tough injury luck. Easton Stick, what do you think about that one? A little Chargers quarterback for you?
Well, it's a great name, buddy. But, it's like, well, what about Denver, right? Like, Denver's basically saying we're walking away from Russell Wilson. And they're close. They're not really, and they're kind of in the hunt. Like, they do mathematically have a chance. So that kind of tells you all you need to know about where they're at on Russell Wilson. And, I think Russell Wilson, the team will sign him, but they ain't going to sign him for much money. Why would you? Right? Like, there's no reason to at all. This is two organizations now that basically want to just get rid of him. So that's kind of the interesting storyline. What do you make of Denver? Well, any of the backups, Cons, are any of the backup, and I ask all the listeners, which one of your backups do you think could put out a good performance? Then I might claim him on waivers before the game.
It's a good question. It's a really good question. I don't know. Well, where do you think Russ Wilson goes? Because that was one of our questions in 5 questions. I threw out the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe he goes there as a bridge gap between their next guy. He's got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Brandon.
Can he play though?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was okay statistically this year.
Yeah, but he just seems, I don't know, like to me, it's more so Russell Wilson the person now than Russell Wilson the player, right? Like, Seattle wanted to get rid of him, and it's rare that an organization gets rid of a guy who's been with them that long. It doesn't happen very often, right? And then now the Denver Broncos, and you got like, a guy who has a pretty good history of having success with quarterbacks. And if Sean Payton's like, yeah, this isn't our guy, it's a pretty big red flag, is it not? So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So why, like, to me, yeah, you might sign him, but yeah, Atlanta, that's an interesting one. Atlanta, New Orleans, although I guess there's Carr in New Orleans. So yeah, I don't really know. That's a good question. Let's see after the draft, right? Because would you want him as a mentor? The way people talk about Russell Wilson, I'm not sure that's a guy you'd want around a young quarterback.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, and if you're Russell Wilson, why would you sign with a QB needy team when there, is a good draft year for quarterbacks? A lot of teams could be taking quarterback in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They can't release him till March, and then he'll be searching for a new home. Gregor, thanks a lot for doing this today. Really appreciate it, and we'll get you on again tomorrow.
Cons, I appreciate you filling in, man. Thanks so much. It's it's an opportunity to get to coach and not miss any of the games for the kids, which is super fun for me anyway. So I thank you for filling in. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Jason Gregor of Oilers Nation, Daily Faceoff. Oh, yeah. And the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook as well. I had a funny comment come in on YouTube from Mike D. Gate attendant. Have a great flight. Connor, you too. Well, sometimes the gate attendant works on a flight, right? Yeah, Spec got me on that one. Really bad. Really embarrassing. Dr. Gonzo says, Russell Wilson, you are an Edmonton Elk. I mean, he doesn't need to make any more money. The guy is absolutely rich. I don't know if we want to see him here. Yeah, we would want to see him here. If he was willing to, that'd be awesome.
Hope you know how to speak Canadian, buddy.
Exactly. Come on up. It's going to be, well, hey, he's got to have some familiarity with Canada. He played at Wisconsin, so it's cold there.
The chances of Russell Wilson coming to play in the CFL, I would put at less than 0.
Yeah.
How's that?
Mathematically not possible, but yeah, it's not going to happen. But it's a funny thought.
Actually, we'll tell you what, since you never want to put 0% on anything, there is a mathematical equation where, a number of approaches but never fully reaches an axis. If you put that axis at 0, that is what I would put these chances at. Constantly approaching, but never fully reaching 0.
The math major, Brandon Douglas.
Economics, actually, which is a type of math. Although it's in the arts faculty, because it's a social science. So how's that for you?
Math major is a lot easier to say. We'll take a break here. That was in the community for United Cycle. The Boxing Week sale on. Check it out, unitedcycle.ca. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas with you here. We got about 20 minutes left in the program. When we come back, we'll go inside the Oilers room and get you ready with the lineup. See what's going down as the Oilers are down in San Jose, set to take on the Sharks. We're about 3 hours away from puck drop. A gentle reminder that we do have some pregame coverage coming up on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel starting at 7 o'clock with Aaron Bordato. If you're watching on YouTube, just leave it here. If you're listening on the radio, get home safe and then log on to your computer. Search Oilers Nation YouTube, and it's right there for you. They do great stuff. Aaron's awesome for pre and post game, so make sure you check that one out. Take a break. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 in the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-o-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Brad McCory here. 'Tis the season for something special at St. Albert Dodge. 165 Ram 1500s all dressed up and waiting for you with an incredible 20% off MSRP. That's savings of up to $14,000. Buy now and unwrap up to $10,000 in Christmas debt relief. Here's a festive touch, our $5,000 monthly giveaway. Buy a vehicle or refer a friend for a chance to win. Your odds? 1 in 200. St. Albert Dodge has an industry-leading 4.6 Google review rating. Come see how easy it is to do business with St. Albert Dodge.
With the rising costs of food, more Edmontonians than ever are struggling to provide a holiday meal for their families.
When you donate to the Holiday Hamper Foundation, you help provide festive meals and gifts for 1,500 Edmonton families in need. Your contribution will purchase turkeys or fish for every family, the centerpiece of their holiday meal, and you'll receive a tax receipt for your generous donation. Please support the Holiday Hamper Foundation. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
Hey, Edmonton sports fans, my name is Jonas Knox. I host Two Pros and a Cup of Joe for Fox Sports weekday mornings from 4 to 7. Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington join me, and hopefully you will too, right here on Sports 1440.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Holiday cheer, you say? Let's add some yummy holiday chill. Wrap a cozy mitten around a free, regular size smoothie from Booster Juice when you purchase a $30 Booster Juice gift card in-store or on the Booster Rewards app. Our gift to you, to give to you, or someone else just as nice. The Booster Juice festive flavors have arrived, like the creamy new Oat Nog Smoothie and the return of holiday favorites, the Gingerbread Smoothie and Candy Cane Booster Balls. For more details, find a Booster Juice near you and download the Booster Rewards app.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
He's Alberta's sports authority and lead touchdown winner of his family's backyard flag football games. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5:43, it is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Have some fun, maybe throw down some parlays, but always use your game sense. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas with you here on the Gregor Show, filling in today. 1-833-401-1440 is the text line if you'd like to jump into the conversation here. We've got Mac as it slowly loads. Who do you think in Superflex? Easton Stick or Tyrod Taylor in the finals? I mean, I'm biased. I love Easton Stick, but I also do love Tyrod Taylor because he was a Charger as well. I thought Tyrod moved the ball okay last week, albeit maybe some might call it garbage time. Denver Broncos defense might be tough. It's in Denver. I think I lean Tyrod.
That's a good question.
Because Josh Palmer and Keenan Allen both were unsure about right now for the Chargers.
Yeah, and they're not going to be in any rush to push, to lean on Josh Palmer to play. Obviously, the Chargers season well over. As you've pointed out multiple times, Connor, they're probably happy collecting losses at this point to move up and grab themselves maybe something to help out that defense, or who knows, maybe another offensive weapon to stack up alongside whoever they're deploying at wide receiver next year. I have to think Keenan Allen will be back, but Mike Williams likely not. Man, I'm just the biggest Giants hater. I hated them all last season, and it's not perpetually. Just like last season, I was like, this team is not good. how do they have this record? How are they in the playoffs? How did they beat the Vikings in that playoff game? And so seeing them fall back down to earth this season, it brought me a smirk, maybe not a full smile, but a smirk for sure at Struddy's expense, his dear Giants. And I'm a huge believer in the Rams, kind of on both sides of the ball. Of course, their defense not as vaunted as it was when they won the Super Bowl. But the Rams have a lot to play for. So I think they're going to be going a little bit harder as opposed to the Chargers-Broncos. That one might be a shootout. The Broncos defense is decent, but kind of regressed a little bit more last weekend. I'm going Easton Stick. I like what I've seen from them. The Chargers, they're going to charge, whether it be with or without Josh Palmer. Charged up, bolt up, whatever it is you guys say as SoCal fans of the football clubs. Austin Eckler, still a good player, even if he's a little slow. Quentin Johnston, he's got a lot to prove for himself. And I actually like it what I've seen from Jalen Guyton since stepping up into kind of the WR3 role. So I'd go on Easton Stick because I like Tyrod Taylor. I do not like the New York Giants.
You swayed me. Go Easton Stick. Okay, well, let's get to the lineup powered by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Stop in and see everything from fishing boats, pontoon boats, ATVs, side-by-sides to motorcycles. They have a 91,000 liter tank to test drive your boat only at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. The lineup tonight as we jump into it. We talked about the Oilers quite a bit already, I would say, but for those who might be curious, McDavid, Nuge, Hyman on the top line, McLeod, Draisaitl, and Warren Fogle. Third line will be centered by Derek Ryan with Matthias Janmark and Kane flanking him, Hamblin, Brown, and Ernie. Defensively, Cody Ceci with Darnell Nurse, Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, Vinny Desharnais with Kulak, Stuart Skinner. Yeah, we're expecting him to get the start. On the flip side, some names in San Jose that might not be household names. William Eklund, Thomas Hertl, and Philip Zadina on their top line. They've got Duclair, Granlund, Zetterlund on the second line. Hoffman, Kunin, and Barbanov on the third line. Another number 94 to watch out for. That always bugs me. Only Smitty can wear that. Justin Bailey, Ryan Carpenter, Kevin LeBlanc on the fourth line. Then Mario Ferraro, great name. Kyle Burrows, their top defensive pairing. Jan Ruda, you got Kalen Addison out there, Henry Thrun. I mean, some names that you can certainly look at and think if Connor McDavid sees them one-on-one, he's going to take advantage. And then between the pipes for San Jose, we talked about it a lot. If there was a trending segment on the show right after fantasy sports, it would be Magnus Krona, because we've talked about him quite a bit. He'll make his first ever start. He played in one game this season for the San Jose Sharks. Not a good one. Goals against average, 787. His save percentage was 765. That came in a 10-2 loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was in relief duty this year, his first year of professional hockey after coming out of the University of Denver. He played in 11 games for the San Jose Barracuda and 2 games for the Wichita Thunder in the East Coast League. So it'll be an interesting night for Magnus Krona. That was the lineup brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Right now, I want to hear from the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers for Action Electrical, celebrating 50 years in the business, wishing all their staff and clients a healthy and prosperous 2024. Thanks for all your support from actionelectrical.net. If we got it ready, we'll hear from Oilers head coach Chris Noblock. There you go. That is head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, Chris Noblock, in preparation for the Oilers and San Jose Sharks. We're 2 hours, 40 minutes or so away from puck drop in San Jose. I forgot I'm on YouTube as I whipped my sheet over your head there. Good thrill, good form. I think we're just about to wrap up here, but hand things over to some local programming before we get to Fox Sports Radio tonight at 9 o'clock. Like I have said, though, if you are on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel, just keep it locked. Aaron Burdetto will be back at 7 o'clock for pre-gaming with Boardsy. He'll be there after the game as well. So keep it locked here on the Oilers Nation YouTube or Facebook channel. Big thank you to all of our guests today. Dave McCarthy, Robin Brownlee, Bill Bender, Shang Pang, Mike Rupp, Speck, and Jason Gregor. If you missed anything, check out our podcast at Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get it from, and make sure you subscribe. We really do appreciate that. You can go watch the show on Facebook and YouTube as well. For Brandon Douglas, I'm Connor Halley. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock to do it all over again. It'll be a lot of fun. And pray for Brandon. He's got about 4 hours to sleep before he's back here tomorrow morning. Right now, we will get to one final sports update with Brandon Douglas, brought to you by BIE Engineering, your structural engineering specialist. Whether in the process of a renovation or building your dream home, BIE can help you out. Go to BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Holiday cheer, you say? Let's add some yummy holiday chill. Wrap a cozy mitten around a free regular size smoothie from Booster Juice when you purchase a $30 Booster Juice gift card in-store or on the Booster Rewards app. Our gift to you, to give to you, or someone else just as nice. The Booster Juice festive flavors have arrived, like the creamy new oat nog smoothie and the return of holiday favorites, the gingerbread smoothie and candy cane booster ball.